time for All In with Paul Jolovitz. Once a month, these two aces of the airwaves take to the road and broadcast live from one of Atlantic City's beautiful casinos, giving you the insider info on all your favorite Philly sports teams.
You'll find all of the news is here.
All In with Paul Jolovitz is an exclusive presentation of 1490 WBCB, your home on the radio dial in Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties.
Enter a destination.
We now go live to All In. Here are your hosts, the pastor of the poker face, Paul Jolovitz.
Alrighty, everybody. Welcome to the beautiful Gallery Bar Book and Game Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort here in Atlantic City. This is All In. I'm Paul Jolovitz, joined by Chris Ermer. We're going to have a bunch of guests later on. We're going to have Craig Berube, the Stanley Cup winning coach of the St. Louis Blues in 2019. He'll be on at 4 o'clock. John Brazier with the Phillies, along with Pat from here at Ocean Sportsbook, will be on at 3. Ben Jones at 3:30. We have a bevy of guests and a bevy of things to talk about, Chris. Not a busy sports day. Phillies are playing right now, leading 4-0 over the Reds in the third inning. Reds have the bases loaded. Little thing called the NFL Draft tonight. Oh, and by the way, Sixers playoff Game 3, a stacked sports day. Welcome.
Well, always great to be with you, Paul, and yeah, definitely a packed sports day here for Philadelphia. And who better to be alongside than Paul Jolovitz, the sage, the man with all the knowledge and wisdom. Always impressed with not necessarily your takes, but your breadth of.
I follow everything basically.
Yeah, you know stuff that I'm like. How does
I know
he know
right
that?
now that the Reds have just scored 2 runs. Maybe. Oh, that's foul. Good foul ball on the third base line. I didn't know that ball was foul, Chris.
No.
As we're sitting here watching at this beautiful sports book.
You're pretty good, but you're not that good.
Not that good. I can't make a foul ball fair. I did want it to be foul. About 30 TVs here, all kinds of stuff, bright lights, wonderful atmosphere here at Ocean. I do want to mention one programming note. We are live today. This is Thursday at 2 o'clock, live on YouTube at WBCBsports.com. We're streaming. Tomorrow, Friday, if you're listening to this on terrestrial radio, on Friday, I'm saying this on Thursday, so if we have some opinions that wind up being, didn't they know who the Eagles took in the draft? Didn't they know who won the Sixer game or the Phillies game? This is on tape as well, so you can follow us live on tape. Nick Castellanos just made a nice catch at the wall, so it's still 4-0. Good stuff for the Phillies. Let's start with the NFL draft. I mean, what's the lead tonight? The NFL draft of the Sixers. Matter of fact, I'll just back up for a second. What is the lead tonight for a Philadelphia sports fan? If they've got one TV, obviously you can switch, or 2 TVs or whatever, but the majority of Philly, you think, NFL draft, Sixers for their number 1.
To me, Sixers are in the number 1 spot, but I think a lot of Philadelphia is going to be looking at the NFL draft.
Oh, absolutely.
You mentioned making a foul ball fair. I wonder if you're going to be talking about officiating at all today. I know one of your positions is that you never blame officials.
Not never, but very rarely.
NBA 2-minute report after that last Sixers loss was incriminating. I don't know. I always defend officials. Like, I just think it's such a tough job, and in the NBA especially, the nature between a foul and a non-call and an offensive foul
all judgment,
is
Chris.
really ticky-tack or slim. Like, the difference is negligible. And for these guys to be out there and have their calls scrutinized in that way, and not just in the NBA. I'm talking about the NFL. I'm talking about the NHL. I'm talking about across the board.
Well, we had the Bradbury thing with the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Let's just say one thing right away. I had a coach tell me when I was young, my team lost a game very close. I don't even remember what sport it was, and we were blaming the officials, and the coach said, guys, you can blame the officials if you want. You can blame them any time you want. But if you were ahead 40-0 and they made a mistake, it wouldn't matter. They're human. They're going to make mistakes. You mentioned the bad calls in the last 2 minutes. I'm not going to deny that. I mean, they made bad calls, but I think they were letting both teams play. Everybody sees games through their own team's colored glasses. That's how fans are in this world, and that's great. We love it. The Sixers don't always get screwed. Al Abdelnaby and Kate Scott the other night, every freaking call. Can't believe it. Was that a foul? Was that a foul? And I like Al and I like Kate, but I thought that it went overboard there. If the NBA took the last 2 minutes of any game, Chris, regular season, preseason, postseason, you're going to find mistakes by the refs.
Well, and they do that. To me, that's something that's impressive about the NBA is they put out that 2-minute report after every game that they do.
And remember, the people who put out the 2-minute report are making judgments too. They're not like some god on some tablet in Messiahville. I mean, the calls are the calls. But bottom line, the Sixers were outscored 8-0 in the last minute. The rebounding of the Knicks was animal-like. They hit the shot DiVincenzo they had to hit. The Sixers missed with Tyrese. The Sixers missed with Joel. They can't worry about the refs. What's done is done. They're trying to buy calls in future games. Tonight they line up a 5.5-point favorite at home. We'll see how Joel feels again. He obviously has little lift on his jump shot. I thought he played well the other night, maybe afraid to box out. And the physical, I think the psychological is more important than the physical with Joel. Tyrese has been great, but Tobias has been awful. There's been no number 3. The bench has been terrible. They got to get contributions out of more people tonight, Chris.
Well, obviously, as you see from me, the lead is the Sixers. I'm all in for tonight's game. Can't wait. One of the things about that sequence that drives me nuts, what was Tyrese Maxey doing turning over and exposing that ball to the defender? Was he trying to pass it between somebody's legs?
Not Tyrese Maxey's fault. In my opinion, it's Kyle Lowry's fault for not calling a timeout when you're out of bounds. Obviously, we can talk all day. I'm not going to talk all day about the timeout because if they call the timeout, it's not like they will automatically win. It's another factor that they would have in their favor. But Kyle Lowry, who I love, 17, 18-year veteran, takes the ball out, makes a dicey pass to Tyrese Maxey. Kyle Lowry could have just called timeout simple. Obviously, Nick Nurse is calling timeout, and whether the refs saw it or not, that's another question. But why doesn't Kyle Lowry simply call timeout? He's just getting off scot-free here on a play that a rookie should make that he didn't make.
When Maxey is on the floor, why doesn't he call timeout?
Well, it's not his to call. It's Lowry's inbounding the ball. Just say to the ref, timeout.
I mean, once he doesn't get the whistle and he gets bumped and he falls down to the floor with the basketball.
I don't really think he ever had possession enough to call timeout. I mean, bottom line, Chris, that's not what lost the game. What lost the game was the 8-0 run, the lack of offensive rebounding, and they're down 2-0. There's nothing you can do about it. They're not the first team that ever thinks they got screwed. Again, all fans that I know of anybody look at it through team-colored glasses.
I'm nervous tonight. And you're right, everybody looks at it through the red and blue Sixers glasses when they look at the Sixers game. But I look at how things are shaping up in this series, and I don't know. I feel like the Sixers could get blown out tonight.
I don't think they can. I could. Listen, anything could happen, which is a great thing about sports. I'll never say something can't happen.
And in large part, it's because I have zero confidence in Joel Embiid, and that's the guy I need confidence in the most for this Sixers team. It's about his knee. It's about his confidence in his own body. I don't see it. He still is he's going to go for 30-plus, but you talked about the rebounding and the competition inside. That is something that has disappeared.
Let me back up for a second. We're watching another game from last night next to the Phillies game here at the beautiful Ocean Gallery Bar and Sportsbook.
This place is awesome, baby.
It is. It's awesome, baby.
We get a great view with the you mentioned how the TVs are curved around the.
I don't know how they do that.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yep. The Miami Heat, Chris, beat the Celtics last night in Game 2. They're playing without Jimmy Butler. They're playing without some other people on the road, 900-point underdogs. I love the Miami Heat. They're my favorite team outside the Sixers because they get the most out of themselves. I love Eric Spoelstra. He's easily, in my opinion, the best coach in the NBA, even over Popovich. I love Adebayo. I love Tyler Hero. If the Sixers had 9% of the mental toughness of the Miami Heat or 10% of the physical toughness, they'd be a really scary team. But you watch the Sixers and you watch the Heat or the Nuggets or some other team like that, the Sixers are not all they can be. If you go the Army route, be all you can be. Joel could be more. Obviously, he could be tougher. The injuries aren't his fault. Tyrese is young, just growing in, but somebody else has to step up. The bench has been destroyed the first 2 games. The toughness factor, the Knicks are the number 1 offensive rebounding team in the NBA. They're not the biggest team in the NBA. They're not the most athletic team in the NBA. But it's a want. It's a work ethic that Tom Thibodeau preaches. Tonight, the Sixers have to show that. They got to match them in intensity. They got to match them in physicality or go beyond. They're 5.5-point favorites, so obviously Vegas and here in Atlantic City think the Sixers can do it, and they can. But it's time to stop talking, stop whining, and start playing. Your Joel take, along with Tyrese, can he get better after the first 2? They just got to play a game and stop talking and stop whining about what they have to do and just do it, don't they?
Yes, but saying it and doing it two different things.
Correct. In anything in life.
And when you say your knee is surgically repaired and everything's okay, that's saying it. But actually playing on that is a totally different thing. And the more games that Joel plays on this surgically repaired knee, I don't feel him getting more confident. I feel him...
Wait, how many people do you know, in sports or out of sports, we all know people who've had surgery, friends, whatever, obviously, life is. How many people do you know that you say, how you doing? I can barely walk, I can't do this, I can't do that, when they're expected to do something. You've never heard an athlete go, it's killing me, I can't walk. You never want to let the other team know how you feel and get that inside. That's why you have upper body, lower body injuries in hockey to the point. I mean, Joel's obviously hurting. We know that. He's been great the first two games. I don't blame Joel necessarily. It is what it is. Maybe Nick Nurse plays him a little less. The end of the first quarter break sits him out a little longer. I don't know what the formula is, but it's got to be something because Tom Thibodeau's team keeps coming. They're like that grinder that just you think we have them. No, they keep coming. They keep coming. They keep coming. So you got to keep coming too, whether you're Joel or anybody else.
I mean, and that's the thing that I'm most doubtful of. This is just the first round. This is just the beginning of the journey. And
let's hope.
Right, exactly. But right now, it doesn't seem like it's. We're going to get to where we want to go again with this team. And
well, what does that tell you, though, Chris? I mean, it tells me that that's what this team is. This is a mentally fragile team, not particularly tough physically, very talented, without question. They're more talented than the Knicks, but talent is not the end-all and be-all in sports. You got to throw in that work ethic and everything with it. You add a little luck, which obviously matters all the time.
I mean, even the talent factor, though, Jolly, I disagree with that premise.
Oh my God, the Sixers are clearly more talented at the top than the Knicks.
At the top, but not across the entire roster.
I think there is
the difference is negligible.
Yeah, I do think the difference is negligible.
Or much smaller.
Normally in the NBA, you win with stars. Obviously, there's no formula. You have Jordan and Pippen and 9 centers and 5 guys named Ralph for the Bulls. But whatever the formula is, you just got to win the game. You got to make the big possessions. The Sixers, here's what it boils down to for me, Chris. And we're going to get to the NFL draft in a second. When the Sixers have a big possession, when they have to score, I don't have faith that they're going to. When the Knicks, who I can't stand any New York team, when the Knicks have possession and a big possession, somehow they're going to get the bounce that Brunson got. He hasn't been good, by the way. Just terrible the first 2 games. 22 for 60. Their best player, still they're up 2-0. But I think they're going to make it and find a way with DiVincenzo, with McBride in the first game, Robinson, the animal offensive rebounders. They find a way to get it done, and that's what you got to do in the playoffs.
I think my frustration level with this Sixers team is higher than with maybe any other team in my sports life. They drive me so crazy.
Is it because of the history or just this year?
No, the history is part of it for sure. And as you're saying, you get into a half-court set. To me, when you have a healthy Joel Embiid and you feed him the ball, I feel confident that you're coming away with a bucket. But right now, you got a banged-up Embiid, and you had a banged-up Embiid in the last run and the run before that.
But that's what life's going to be for you. Sixers with Joel Embiid, the only thing we can hope for...
It doesn't have to be that way, does it?
Yes, it does. I mean, because that's how he is. Joel Embiid is an injury-prone guy. It could be anything. Some are bad luck. Some may be bad shape. Some are fragile. He's the cardio thing. I mean, that's a different thing. I think he works hard, but he's never going to be the Marlboro man in shape.
And I think he's worked harder and harder each year, too. Like, you look at his fitness level, what he has done to prepare. And as a fan, I don't really know what he's doing, but I'm looking at the results on the floor. I feel like he's gotten in better shape, and he has worked harder.
But then you get hit in the eye by somebody. Listen, Chris, Sixer fans just have to hope. And you don't trade him for no reason. People trade Joel Embiid. You don't trade somebody. You trade 4 people. Until I hear a trade that makes sense, I'm not trading Joel Embiid. It's hard to find a building block like him. But he has the injury history. Sixer fans like yourself, like myself, we're just going to have to hope that there's a playoff run where he's fine, has the right people around him. You know that I can't stand Daryl Morey. I think he's built this team improperly like every other team he's ever had. He's Joel Embiid in his prime, James Harden in his prime. Never made a conference final with either of those 2 guys, but I'll drop off that for a second. Sixers, I still have confidence in them this series, but they got to improve their work rate.
Okay, the other guy who's driving me crazy
Batum?
Is Buddy Hield.
Buddy Hield is not even there. He's got to get better just to suck, as a friend of mine said. He doesn't do anything. He's here just for offense. He won't shoot.
That's
an offensive player that won't shoot. What's the point of him being there?
And a 3-point specialist who won't shoot 3-pointers.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
He's driving. He's putting the ball on the floor sometimes.
Which I don't want him to do. Stand up, spot at the 3-point line, let somebody drive the paint, Tyrese, dish it out. Buddy Hield, this is his first playoff game after 600 and some games in the West. Didn't play any playoff games. This is first. You think it's nerves for him? Because first week or so he was here, he was great. He's had diminishing marginal returns, and it's not because people are covering Buddy Hield with 3 people. It's him, not them, right?
I see the same thing, but if there's a defender anywhere in the vicinity, he is pulling the ball down, and he doesn't feel confident to let it go. And I'm thinking this is a guy who we brought to this team to fire with a hand in his face.
That's what I mean by the mental side, the Miami Heat. They don't have it. Duncan Robinson, whoever it is, 3-point shooters, they just shoot the ball. If they miss, they miss. But Buddy Hield is a one-trick pony. I mean, he gives you a little bit in a lot of areas. For example, Oubre, a wonderful offensive player, is playing really good defense on Brunson, really good. Sometimes they give you that extra layer. Buddy Hield sometimes give you an extra layer or something, but he's there for his shooting. He's got a quick release. Nick Nurse just has to tell him, just do it. But he can't play. He can't be on the floor if he's not shooting.
Shooters got to shoot.
Shooters got to shoot.
Shooters got to shoot.
97-69, by the way, Chris. The Sixers starters outscored the Knicks in Game 1. If I told you 97-69, Brunson had not a very good game. Obviously, that's part of the 69. And the Sixers still going to lose. You'd say, no way. Game 2, 5-point lead, 40 seconds left. Timeout, no timeout, whatever. But they made the shot, Steve Vincenzo. You say, no way. They have to find a way. Simple as that. Or they're going to be gone. You watch the playoffs, and the Heat won in Boston, and Denver and the LA Lakers. Been a pretty good series, but Denver keeps winning, the champions. It's pretty much been a home court playoffs in the NBA. Last night was the first time that a road team won, or a couple nights ago. Let's hope it doesn't happen tonight at the Wells Fargo Center. What do you think the crowd will be like? The crowd in New York had a lot of Sixer fans. How many New York fans, not number, but give me a ballpark percentage, you think will find their way to the Wells Fargo Center?
Oh, gosh. I'm going to go... I'm going to give it a 15%.
Something like that. Any New York-Philadelphia rivalry is great. 90 miles up the Turnpike. You got areas in New Jersey that have both fans.
And that friction just adds energy to the building.
Absolutely.
It fires up the Sixers fans. I went to my first Sixers game in a long time. They beat the Orlando Magic on a Friday night.
A couple weeks ago.
But the crowd, although they were into it, a little bit subdued. And I think that...
I don't remember that game, but that was part of the 9-game winning streak, obviously.
Yes. They beat the Magic. It was a
Magic a playoff team.
Wire-to-wire win.
They played some bad teams, but they also beat the Magic. They beat a couple 3 or 4 winning teams. They got to recapture now what they have then.
But I didn't feel like the juice in the building was as electric as I expected. I think tonight there's going to be a huge... playoffs, right? Talk about how it's different for the players. It's different for the fans, too.
Remember this always, and I know you do, and the fans don't have any responsibility. There's an air mark strike. They're asking you not to get food and drink in the building. Good luck with that. Although I support unions. That's a toughie.
Oh, yeah.
Chris, it's up to the team to make the fans scream, not up to the fans to make the team juiced up. If you're not juiced up for an NBA playoff game, especially if you're a team with title expectations and self-expectations like Joel, no group of fans or anybody else is going to get you there. It is up to the team to make the fans happy, not otherwise. Simple.
No question about it. And they put on a good show against the Magic, but tonight, hopefully the fans will be a little bit more fired up.
I don't think you have anything to worry about. Down 2-0 now. If they get down early, we could start hearing some boos and everything like that. If it goes bad in the first quarter, normally I don't think first quarters are very important in the NBA, but tonight could be important for the crowd not to get on the team, and that I think can hurt a team and make them sulk. I want to talk also about Tyrese Maxey, who's coming into his own as a Robin. Can he be a Batman? Named most improved player in the league a couple days ago. Chris, I'm not sure there's anybody else in the NBA. Two comments I want you to react to. I can't think of any other athlete in any other sport anywhere, and I don't watch everybody else every night, obviously, but I watch enough, that this just has a constant smile and plays with such joy as Tyrese Maxey. That's number one. Number two, if there was an Olympic event, 100 meters dribbling a basketball, Tyrese Maxey would be a gold medal favorite. He's like nothing. He's not the quickest guy in the world, although he's very quick, but he's unbelievably fast.
Quick and fast.
Yeah.
His explosiveness and drive to the rim, is so and then the extension.
The
that he's
0
able
to
to
60
get.
is good, but his top speed is ridiculous.
Yeah.
He gets around anybody.
What was the other thing about Tyrese
Just
Maxey?
plays with a joy, a smile.
You know, right now I'm doing a little consulting or assistant coaching with my brother's high school volleyball team.
Wow.
And you see the
Your
different.
brother's in high school?
He is a coach.
Oh, okay.
He is a coach of the high school volleyball
All
team.
right.
And you see the reactions that the different players have after they succeed and they fail. And so much of how they react is picked up by their teammates. And
Human nature
when
is
you're a
what it
high
is.
school student, I don't think you realize how contagious your energy and your attitude is. And so some players we've had to talk to and say, hey, you might not be playing well, but you can't get down on yourself, can't get down on your teammates. A guy like Tyrese Maxey is a great teammate in that way. He just seems like he lifts everybody up. Like you said, the smile, the joy, the attitude. One of the guys that Merrill talks about, BG, Brandon Graham, and how positive he is with the
exactly
Eagles.
The same thing.
Very similar, right? And you're right. There's something that is unmistakable, notable. You can't miss how Tyrese approaches life, it seems like.
It's not coachable either. I know you coach your brother's team, and those are some great points you made, but that's DNA. You are who you are. And that's how you're never going to turn, anybody that's not like that into someone that is like that. Maybe a little more positivity, but love Maxey, love what he does.
And even that, though, you talk about how you evolve as a player, right? And a lot of guys, maybe they start with this joy and the way they feel about the game, but it gets so serious. Oh, so much on the line.
It is serious, but if you can keep the light heart, he plays. It's not like he's playing, goofball basketball and then doing dumb things on the court. He plays with the same seriousness anybody else plays with. He just does it with a joy, and it's viewable to the fans.
No
he
question.
could be a big key. I mean, he scored 33 and 35 the first two games, but if he can make some big shots, really take off. But they need that third wheel. The Knicks have gotten the third wheel. The Knicks have gotten the bench scoring. Brunson, you got to figure, is not going to have this bad a game. Oh, I want to bring up one other thing with the Villanova guys. Brunson, Hart, DiVincenzo. Villanova school paper or something like that was praising them after Game 3. Sixer fans reacted to that. How are you praising Villanova guys on a New York team when they're playing Philadelphia? Josh Hart called that ridiculous. What's your whole view on the Villanova in Philadelphia, not in Philadelphia, winning, Knicks, Sixers, the whole 9 yards?
Well, I do not really consider Villanova a Philly school in like an official way. They're just separated by like 1 degree, like they're first cousins, but they're not quite in the family completely. However, for Villanova to lift up their alumni and their former players, I got no problem with whatsoever. And for them to say, look at what our graduates have done and how they're succeeding at this big level, to me, I think that's
it's unique.
No issue.
Brunson's their best player, and he's going to get it going, you got to think. Josh Hart's been amazing the first 2 games.
But I saw you rolling my eyes, though, about my Villanova take and not being...
I agree with you.
Okay.
But the Villanova guys, Josh Hart with the threes, DiVincenzo with the big plays, they've really been the 3 guys. Obviously, McBride in Game 1, and they've gotten it from other people, too. But those have been the 3 spark plugs against the Sixers in a playoff series between New York and Philadelphia. A little extra layer of fun there.
Or frustration and madness for the Philly sports fan to love those Villanova guys so much and now have them doing us dirty.
Absolutely, without question about that.
They're doing us dirty.
They are doing us dirty, but that's what they're supposed to do.
They
don't play for the Sixers. They play for the Knicks.
Good point.
Can't stand the Knicks. But
always with the good points, this Paul Jolovitz.
All right, give me your good point. Game 3. I know you've mentioned, given some hints, but we're at the sports book. I know you're not going to put a bet down because you're not really a gambler. Although you tell me if you are, I don't want to assume things. What happens in Game 3?
Gosh. I don't know. I'm not confident. I would probably take the Knicks if we're talking about that 5.5 number. That seems like a pretty big number in a series that has come down to these very, very close games.
Agreed.
I don't think they're going to put the Knicks to bed in the game, so expect the Knicks to make runs and be there at the end. I feel it's more likely that the Knicks get up on the Sixers and the Sixers end up losing, I don't know, their motivation.
That could. I don't think that will happen.
Already down 2 games in the series. I mean, you got the fans behind you and stuff, but even like you said, even if things go wrong, the fans can turn
All right, I think Nick Nurse and the Sixers are going to win tonight, but I have this question for you.
I'm never confident. You asked me to pick the home team, and I'm always
not
like,
asking you to pick the home team. I'm asking you to be honest.
Well,
let's say we're the sports book.
Pick the home team game. I don't know. I always feel like I don't know. Can we do it?
Sports books are about chance. Sports are about chance. If I told you right now, Chris, nobody's going to be in special foul trouble. There's not going to be any alternative or ulterior motives or people or whatever to this. I'm simply telling you, we're going to fast forward to tonight. 1 minute left. Jump ball. There's been an out-of-bounds play that can't be, adjudicated. Jump ball, tie game. You can take that right now, or you can play the game. Which would you take?
I'll take the jump ball. I'll take the tie game at the end with an opportunity to win it.
I would too, but it's just something about the clutch situation that worries me. I think we've whined and complained too much, and I think that affects how you play. I really do. I know people are getting mad at me for saying that, but I could care less. Don't whine, just play. Whining never helps anything. When I whine, people would tell me, my mother was in a prison camp in World War II. I'd hear, don't whine about what's wrong, make it better somehow. I understand you can't control the refs, but just put them out of your mind. They're going to make bad calls. They're going to let people play. If they let them play tonight and the Knicks are a more physical team than the Sixers, it's going to look like we're not getting the calls all the time. If that looks that way, whatever.
I mean, to me, part of that, though, is like a good defense attorney working the judge, right? I mean, you got to make state your case and make your objections and hope they're sustained.
Let's hope the defense attorney of the Sixers, whatever that means, the fans or whoever.
Esquire Nick Nurse.
Nick Nurse, yeah, who's won a championship.
Or Nick Nurse Esquire, I think.
Nick Nurse Esquire can outdo Tom Thibodeau Esquire in the city that publishes Esquire. Never mind. Anyway, Sixers and the Knicks tonight at 7:30.
Another good point.
Something else is going on tonight. A little draft that Howie Roseman and the Eagles are getting ready for. The 10th draft that Howie Roseman has run. We're going to talk about that a lot tonight. What will the Eagles do? Will they trade up? There's several scenarios that paints. Will they go for a corner, an edge rusher, an offensive lineman? They'll get an offensive lineman somewhere.
Ooh, you were saying, too, we got some guests coming by. John Brazier going to be with us.
Yep.
Craig Berube
at 4 o'clock, the coach of the Blues, who's coached the Flyers, 2013 and 15. We're happy to have Craig here.
That's awesome.
Braze will be here at 3. We got plenty of guests. Ben Jones from BCWSA, our sponsor, will be here. And I want to tell people something about here at Ocean here at Atlantic City, Chris. We are here at the Gallery Bar booking games in Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. It has everything a sports book needs and more. Gallery features a 100-foot elevated bar, which is right in front of us, including 59 seats and 12 slot machines. I'll take their word for it. A mix of blackjack and roulette tables surround the perimeter of the bar, while 140 feet of LED walls line the venue. A 17-foot open-air staircase connects to balcony bar, a mezzanine bar, and lounge where guests can enjoy the ultimate VIP Atlantic City Sportsbook experience. If you're looking to bet, drink, and watch your favorite sports, the Gallery Bar Booking Games and Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City is the place to be. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. We will be back with All In with Chris Surmer, Paul Jolovitz here terrestrially. Well, you're hearing this on Friday. We're doing this on Thursday, where people who are watching YouTube at WBCB Sports are watching live. We got it all for you. Philly's still up 4-0, and we are back right after this.
I sent you both an email.
A thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, proven. This is Tom.
What's your name?
Leonard Skinnard.
Girl,
Live in concert.
sweet.
Friday, June 28th, 9 p.m. Ovation Hall in Ocean Casino Resort.
Give me 3 slaps, mister. Give me 3 slaps.
Celebrating 50 years of Leonard Skinnard. On sale now at theoceanac.com. Leonard Skinnard.
With over 7,200 square feet of 200 brewers in stock at all times, Pat Dion Beverages now features 5 different flavors of their favorite slushy cocktails. You can also purchase all your wine, liquor, and other fine spirits right next door. Visit us on Facebook or online at patdionbeverages.com for upcoming events and samples from your favorite brewery or local food vendor. Puss and Boots Tavern on Trenton Road in Fairless Hills is better than ever. Sit down, relax on their outdoor patio, and try their award-winning burgers and sandwiches. Visit their takeout store for all of your favorite takeout. And it's not just food. You can also stock up on beers, sodas, cigars, snacks, and a variety of convenience items. Call 215-295-8236 to place your order or have them host your next party or affair. Get out and enjoy the summer weather today at Puss and Boots Tavern.
We now return to All In with Paul Jolovitz, broadcasting live in Atlantic City.
All right, Phillies trying to end this little 2-game losing streak, leading 4-0 in the 5th inning tonight. Today, Zach Wheeler's still on the mound. Spencer Turnbull pitched pretty well yesterday. Got an interesting decision after Taijuan Walker comes back. Starting pitching has been tremendous. And what's also tremendous here is the Gallery Brook and Sports Bar. The Memorial Day weekend sweepstakes is here, Chris. Excellent time to be in AC. Getting warm, summer. We all love summer. Kick off the start of summer with our $300,000 Memorial Day weekend sweepstakes on May 24th to May 26th. 10 winners every 30 minutes will win up to $500 in free play. The grand prize drawings total $25,000 cash at 11 p.m. each day. Start your summer off the right way at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. For more information, visit oceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Paul Jolovitz with Chris Irmer. This is All In. All In tonight is what the Eagles are. They are every year with a little draft that they have tonight. The selection meeting, as they say, Roger Goodell kicks it off at 8 in Detroit, which is nice for a city like Detroit to be able to have that. Philly had the draft. I thought we did a great job. Tonight's in Detroit. The Bears are probably going to take Caleb Williams, which will be the first mistake of the draft. Eagles pick at 22, 50, and 53. If I'm the Bears, by the way, this is nothing to do with the Eagles, I would take Marvin Harrison, the best player in the draft, at 1. I'd probably trade the pick, but if I had to take my pick, and then take Michael Penix, the best quarterback in this draft, Merrill and I agree on that, at 9.
I mean, draft stuff is so fascinating to me, Jolly. I want to jump in here. What if you had the top pick, right?
Yep.
And you say, okay, Marvin Harrison is probably going to go number 3 or 4.
4, probably.
And you go, I can move from 1 to 4. What kind of value will moving those 3 spots potentially get? Is that like a second-round pick? Do you get
much more.
Another first-round pick?
You'd probably get a second,
late round.
There's a
chart, yeah.
And teams go by that chart. I don't know exactly what it is, but I would assume you get another second-round pick, next year's first.
What you said was smart though, because okay, you have the top pick. You've identified your guy, but if you know the value is more towards 4 or 5, and that's where he's going to get picked, and everybody's salivating over Caleb Williams.
It's not like And one thing, and I just heard before I came down, I heard Mel Kiper say this, and he's exactly right. I respect Mel Kiper for what he does. Chris, there have been quarterbacks drafted number 1 that have succeeded. Obviously, Peyton Manning, John Elway, and others. This quarterback draft is like when I was a senior in school. The great draft in 1983. Dan Marino went 6th. Bottom line, Pat Mahomes went 10th in a draft that Mitch Trubisky went 2nd. And you can think of a million other examples. Johnny Unitas was a 400th round pick. Tom Brady obviously is the one in modern day times. Teams really have no idea about quarterbacks. It's a crapshoot. You got to wait till the guy plays, see how he handles adversity, see how his physical game stacks up. Does he play as a rookie? Mahomes redshirted. I just don't think Caleb Williams is mentally tough enough to withstand what he's going to get in Chicago. You got Caleb Williams. You got 5 other quarterbacks. They'll all be gone by the time the Eagles pick. The Eagles can use this an advantage to them with teams going up to get quarterbacks because that pretty much pushes other people down that are very good toward 22. I don't think they pick at 22. My ideal situation would be to get Brock Bowers, who I think is the second best player in this draft, the tight end from Georgia. The Eagles have 11 guys from Georgia already. I'm kidding, but it's Bulldog Nation North.
Yeah.
It is. I think their ideal situation would be to have Brock Bowers somehow slide to 15 or 16 and then see if Howie, an inveterate deal maker, he loves to make deals. He said so in his media opportunities. He loves to talk to other people, find out what people are worth. The Eagles need a lot of defense. I would go with defense if I had to, but if I could get Brock Bowers, that'd be very tempting.
I mean, I want a defender, and especially with one of those top picks, I want somebody in the secondary.
You want Kool-Aid?
I love that name. I do want Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Can we get some Kool-Aid over here at the table, somebody?
Could be. We got some Kool-Aid. We got Cooper DeJean.
The other guy I love is Chop.
Chop Robinson from Penn State, edge rusher. So you got edge. You've let Reddick go. You obviously have a hole there opposite Huff, who you got obviously from the Jets, the free agent. Edge rusher, cornerback. Are your guys good enough, the young guys? Or do you go with another cornerback? Do you take a Mitchell from Toledo? He's going to be gone. These are guys you might need to trade up for. Wiggins from Clemson. Is it a linebacker? They never take linebackers. There's no linebacker worthy of being selected in the first round this year anyway. Do you draft for position? Do you draft for need? Do you draft for player if you had your choice and everything worked out for you?
I mean, I think you got to mix it a little bit, a little blend of all that stuff. But primarily, I am looking at the best player I possibly can get to add to my team, almost regardless of position, maybe with the exception of quarterback, because you see how these quarterbacks can get a little bit upset or get knocked off their game if they get some competition. But
what do you do, though, Chris?
I'm not that worried about that either, but I just look at the best player possible. If he can fit in my system in some way, that's what I want.
All right, you got a couple receivers. Harrison may not be the first receiver taken. Kids from LSU could be.
Don't want a receiver.
But what happens in this situation? It's ridiculous, but it comes upon every guy,
right,
every general manager at some point, whether it's round 1 or round 6. Marvin Harrison, we saw it with Justin Jefferson a couple years ago, although everybody is kind of revisionist in their history because nobody thought Justin Jefferson should have been the first, second, or third pick in the draft. But let's say Marvin Harrison, for whatever reason, nobody knows why, has slid to 22. And he's 8 million miles better than any other evaluation at any other position you got, and you just don't need Marvin Harrison. You'd love to have him. There's a situation where you have to trade the pick. Find someone who also can't believe it and will give you a king's ransom in 10 minutes. It's a high-stakes, quick poker game that you got to decide. Do I have the best value here by drafting, by trading up? I don't think they'll trade down, but you got to be a quick twitch thinker in the draft. Do you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. Well, what do they give you, 5 minutes now?
10.
I think
10 in the first round and then 5, I think, every other round.
That allows for some thought, but, I mean, you better be prepared, know what your board looks like, and have people on speed dial ready to go.
You got to have an if situation. If this happens, if that happens, your board.
And I think there's scenarios, like you said, you have the if situations that you're ready for. But if things go well, I think there are scenarios where the player that you want is going to be there. You don't have to move around. You don't have to do much. And make your selection. Be confident.
First of all, every single team, the Eagles with Howie Roseman and all 31 other teams, are shockingly going to have the guy that we had number 1 on our board fall to them at the perfect situation, the perfect location. Nobody ever says we wanted Phil, but we wind up with Mike. Everybody gets the guy that we can't believe he fell to us. We're so happy and thrilled. That's the lie that every team tells. I'm sure some of them is true with.
I think there's more lies told during the NFL draft maybe than for the rest of the entire year. The teams lying to their fans about who they wanted and who they didn't want. The teams lying to each other about who they want and who they don't want.
The team that takes Michael Penix, who's going to get the best quarterback in the draft, will say, in our evaluations, we just watch the games. We don't care about the injury risk or the postseason, this or that or the other. He's the guy we wanted all along. That's how people say. Howie has not been good with DBs, by the way. He's not taken a DB in the first round since Lito in 2002. You got Terry and Arnold there. You got all kinds of choices. I think they're going to go offensive line. If they draft at 22, the name of Marius Mims, also from Georgia. Seems like everybody's from Georgia. Rings a bell. How badly do they need an offensive lineman to replace Lane Johnson at some point? Maybe be a backup this year. And how much do they need to improve that defense?
I mean, you always need offensive linemen. You look into the future. You win the games in the trenches. But the immediate need on this team is on the defensive side of the football.
Absolutely.
Their offense seems pretty well set. They bring in Saquon. Jalen now going to be another year of development for him. AJ and Deshaun. Right.
Signed Devontae.
Right.
And you have Vic Fangio coaching the defense. You're going to have to ask him, I'm sure they have, obviously, in the prep to this. What kind of player do you want to get the defensive style? You got 2 aging cornerbacks that may last another year. Bradbury, Father Time, has already tapped on the shoulder. I can't believe he starts this year. Slay's 33. He didn't impress me last year. Still probably average starting level.
You know what impresses me, Jolly?
What?
How the NFL and ESPN, they've created this event that actually is quite compelling to watch, even for people who are not necessarily big fans of the NFL or the draft. They don't have to know everybody that's involved. The people in the green room and the guys coming up and the tears that they cry. I love it. I mean, it's awesome.
Well, sure. I mean, they've created this event. People that watch college football know it somewhat. I watch all the time. Merrill watches all the time. Other people watch a month of highlights. They see just the good plays. You never see the bad.
And there's so many different levels of understanding and all that stuff, but there's something for everybody.
It's the number one non-sporting event in this country. The NFL has found a way, obviously, to be the 10,000-pound gorilla, not just in football season, not just in the postseason, but the rest of the year.
It's amazing.
Little lull in June and July while we get ready for camp, but the draft, free agency, the combine, the coaching carousel. Everybody's interested in the NFL, and they've done an absolutely masterful job marketing themselves, now taking the draft around, making cities happy, which is cool. Obviously, it's all about money, but they hide that in the vein, and then fans can have a good time if they want to go there. Did you go to the draft when it was in Philly?
No, I didn't. But, that night I was watching, and the reactions that the players have vary so
it's their
much.
Life. Their whole life changes in 1 second.
Some guys have that Tyrese Maxey joy, and other guys are recognizing the struggles that they have, the emotions, and the waterworks get turned on, and I respect it all.
I was sad. I'm sad thinking about the draft in Philly, not for reasons you would ever guess.
Oh, I got one for you.
Well,
how they pimped out the Franklin Institute I didn't like. This is an institute of higher learning. Come on.
They pimped out a lot of areas downtown. Waterworks, by the way, not far from there. But at that draft, working with WIP as I do still, the red carpet had a lot of celebrities on it, tons of college coaches. And for some reason, Carl Weathers was on the red carpet, who played in the NFL with the Oakland Raiders. I interviewed Carl Weathers. It was exciting to do, obviously, from Rocky. And Carl just passed away this year, which was just sad. I think about that as the NFL draft and that event in my life, but there's stars are going to be there, and we will see 3-day event. Tonight's just round 1, 10 minutes a pick. It's covered by 18 networks, ESPN, the NFL Network, obviously the 2 main ones, only 2 probably. And then rounds 2 and 3 are tomorrow night, rounds 4 to 7. 4 to 7 is where Howie Roseman just swaps 12 deals, a 4 for next year's 9, for next year's 16, with this year's 18 thrown. It's just nonstop dealing. If you're watching the 3rd day of the NFL draft, to me, you got a problem.
All right, well, let me turn the tables on you tonight at the Jolly Mansion. What is on the TV if you only have the option of the NFL draft and the 76ers Game 3?
I'm not allowed to turn the channel or use 2 TVs at all?
Yeah, you can change the channel.
Well, if I'm changing...
But you have to have a primary... Or do you just kind of flip back and forth? You're 50-50.
I'm going to be flipping back. When the Eagles pick, I'm going to be flipping. I'm more interested in the Sixer game, to be honest with you. It's an actual game. I love the Eagles. I love the NFL. But I love games. I'm not going to miss either one. We're going to be down here at Ocean after dinner. By the way, a beautiful dinner at 5:30 at Ocean Steak, which is unbelievable.
Yeah, you pushed up our reservations so we could catch the draft,
yeah, we got
catch
the 7:30
action.
Sixer game, 8 o'clock draft. Draft not going to start exactly at 8, but
nice job.
Lots of stuff going on. By the way, Philly still ahead 4-0. They've scored 4 in the 3rd inning, Chris. Seems like that's going to be the final score, or 5-0, excuse me. Zach Wheeler still on the mound. Philly starters going deep into games. He's in the 6th inning tonight, and it seems like they're going to split this series as they go out to San Diego.
Well, you got to feel good for Zach Wheeler. Get a W. I mean, you got
1 and 3
I never
after
feel
no
like
run support.
Yeah, I mean, you got to let's seal the deal before we even go there.
Well, they were ahead last night. They got to keep going. The bullpen's been shaky. Sir Anthony, I would send Sir Anthony down. He's lost. He's working on a slider. Work on things at AAA, not the Major League level. If he has options left, we'll see. Castellanos playing every day. Topper put some strange lineups in. Topper overdoes it. We got to break real quick, but Topper to me overdoes it. I think he's a good manager. but he overdoes the righty-lefty thing. Like no righty can ever hit a lefty. Kyle Schwarber's hit lefties this year. Every time a lefty pitches, the lineup is markedly different. Put your lineup in and make them beat you. Don't kowtow to them. I'm not saying never use a righty-lefty platoon, but Topper does it too much, in my opinion.
Well, one thing that I have to, I don't know, I have to give credit to Rob Thompson because he stuck with Johan Rojas at a time when I was ready to pull the plug on the kid. 0.45 as a batting average. That just was
2 weeks.
At the same time, I didn't realize he would try to hit 400 and have his average climb now back up to a very respectable level. He's playing great defense.
He always played great defense.
There's a certain element, like you said, with the tinkering with the lineups. It's kind of annoying, but like Schwarber in the leadoff spot, he's sticking with it. And
hitting lefties much better against lefties and righties this year. Anyway, we'll talk a lot of Phillies. We're here till 5 o'clock. At 3 o'clock, Pat Glaus, the director of the Ocean Sportsbook, which we are sitting at, will be here. We'll talk to him how an Atlantic City Sportsbook runs, what they're looking for tonight, what kind of action they take on the draft, the Sixers, and much, much more, how the line moves. 3:30, John Brazier from the Phillies, director of fun and games, and Ben
He's
Jones. He is here now.
Yep.
He's talking to Lee Alexander up at the bar, which is beautifully red. Like the Phillies, John Brazier, I think, ordered it that way, Chris. 4 o'clock, Craig Berube, former coach of the Blues, the Flyers. We are going to take a break, come back. We are all in at the Gallery Sportsbook and Bar at Ocean Casino Resort right here in Atlantic City, where I want to tell you about something. That's Casino Player Magazine's best hotel rooms in Atlantic City can be found at Ocean Casino Resort. They are all nice.
Yes.
Very nice. Prepared for floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing breathtaking panoramic ocean views. The fresh and up-to-date rooms and suites create an experience like no other. Looking to book your next escape? Visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Back with All In right after this.
Puss and Boots Tavern on Trent Road in Fairless Hills is better than ever. Sit down, relax on their outdoor patio, and try their award-winning burgers and sandwiches. Visit their takeout store for all of your favorite takeout. And it's not just food. You can also stock up on beers, soda, cigars, snacks, and a variety of convenience items. Call 215-295-8236 to place your order or have them host your next party or affair. Get out and enjoy the summer weather today at Puss and Boots Tavern.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, proven. This is Tommy Green from the 1990.
What's your name? Leonard Skinnard. Live in concert. Sweet. Friday, June 28th, 9 p.m. Ovation Hall in Ocean Casino Resort. Give me 3 slaps, mister. Give me 3. Celebrating 50 years of Leonard Skinnard. On sale now at theoceanac.com. Leonard Skinnard.
With over 7,200 square feet of 200 brewers in stock at all times, Pantheon Beverages now features 5 different flavors of their favorite slushy cocktails. You can also purchase all your wine, liquor, and other fine spirits right next door. Visit us on Facebook or online at pantheonbeverages.com for upcoming events and samples from your favorite brewery or local food vendor. Puss and Boots Tavern on Trent Road in Fairless Hills is better than ever. Sit down, relax on their outdoor patio, and try their award-winning burgers and sandwiches. Visit their takeout store for all of your favorite takeout. And it's not just food. You can also stock up on beers, soda, cigars, snacks, and a variety of convenience items. Call 215-295-8236 to place your order or have them host your next party or affair. Get out and enjoy the summer weather today at Puss in Boots Tavern.
We now return to All In with Paul Jolovitz, broadcasting live in Atlantic City.
Alrighty, back here with All In at the Ocean Gallery Bar, Book, and Games in Ocean Casino Resort. Beautiful place. Also got fine dining here to celebrate, commemorate, or simply indulge. Dive into fine dining at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City, where we are now, with an ambiance for every occasion and the most mouth-watering dishes. Discover a one-of-a-kind culinary experience in Atlantic City when you dine at Amada, Ocean Steak, where we'll be tonight, or Linguini by the Sea. From traditional Spanish cuisine to mouth-watering steaks and classic Italian fare, whatever you're craving, we have you covered. For reservations, visit theoceanac.com. This is a hell of a place we're at, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful place at Ocean Gallery Bar, Book, and Sports.
Always look forward to dinner. They hook us up.
They do, and then the casino is beautiful. A lot of color, a lot of pageantry, a lot of noise. Every casino depends on noise. They want noise. They want people winning. They want, obviously, to make money, but they want a certain amount of people to win, too, and be happy. Casinos are a very interesting business.
Hey, can I throw a sports-related topic your way, Jolly? I'm wondering what you think about Reggie Bush getting back his Heisman Trophy. Maybe even the discussion should start as to whether or not you think he should have ever lost his Heisman Trophy.
I'm glad he got it back. Listen, what he did had nothing to do with football. Obviously, it was a house for his parents. That's improper. It's a violation. No question about it. But I don't see what it had to do with his Heisman Trophy. That the school should get a penalty, but why him? I mean, he's an adult human being, obviously. He knew what he was doing.
Well, there are rules, though. I mean, I guess there's a certain element where...
But taking a trophy away, taking wins away, is pretending. Listen, the guy was on the field. He had an incredible career. You watched him play against Texas in that all-time game. He did what he did. It's like wiping Paterno's record out of the books. You can put an asterisk there and pretend they didn't win the games, but the people who were at the games watched him win the games. You want to do something else, fine. But he should have got it back. I'm glad he got it back. I'm glad he's back in the Heisman family. Now, obviously, everything's legal that was illegal then. That's another story for another day, maybe today, but I'm glad he got it back.
That's the topic I kind of want to stick with, because if you're saying, we're in a different world today, right, the NIL world, and what Reggie Bush did in today's world wouldn't even be considered a violation at all.
It would be encouraged.
So, that's a big change. Do you think because of the different elements that are now in baseball that Pete Rose should be reconsidered for reinstatement or for the Hall of Fame? I'm sure you've heard so many people talking about Shohei and his gambling and DraftKings and whatever, and if this is part of the game,
they haven't proven one thing about Shohei.
We should come around on Pete Rose.
No, not to me. Pete Rose is... I can't say what I feel about Pete Rose on the air. He helped the Phillies win a World Series, no question about it. But he knew it was illegal. It was number one rule in baseball. It was on every locker room board. You're still not allowed to bet on baseball. You obviously can gamble, but Isaiah Rodgers, the Colts, the safety the Eagles got from the Colts, just reinstated after a year off. You can't bet on your own sport. So, no, I don't think Pete Rose should ever be able to. Listen, Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't doubt that for a second. Any baseball fan knows that Pete Rose is a Hall of Fame quality baseball player. Even John Dowd, the attorney, probably wouldn't argue that one. But should he be in? He's a bad person. He casts a bad light. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame, but it's not going to happen for him. What you think doesn't really matter. I think everybody should be in the Hall of Fame, and then fans should be allowed to make up their mind by the information on the plaque, good and bad, as to what that person's legitimacy is. But that's how I feel.
All right, based on that take and the scrutiny right now that is surrounding Shohei Ohtani and whether or not his interpreter made the bets, were you satisfied with Major League Baseball's investigation and attention to that matter? Because I was not, as a fan, and for them to sweep it under the rug, I don't know. I feel disappointed in a certain regard. There should have been more public statements, explanations.
I don't think the public really deserves. It's a criminal case, Chris. I think we deserve some things that we don't sometimes. I don't know what the investigation level was or wasn't. Obviously, I'd love to have to be wide open and transparent for everybody. But Shohei Ohtani has not been proven or even accused of doing one frickin' thing.
I mean, the money came out of his
He has
account.
not been. This is America, and in
Right.
America, you are innocent till proven guilty, not innocent till proven that in the public eye. I'm not going to say anything bad about Shohei Ohtani till somebody has proven to me or given me reason to believe that he's actually done something. This interpreter could have stolen the money very easily. I don't know who he is or what he is, but I'm not going to. I mean, is it silly? Should it have happened? Probably not. But I'm not going to put Shohei Ohtani in that category without any evidence whatsoever. That is simply not fair to him and not how this country works.
Well, there's a certain element that goes against what I have experienced relative to human behavior, and that there's something that stinks relative to this relationship that he had with his interpreter, which was obviously more than just a professional interaction, that they were friendly, they did things, they socialized.
He's allowed to do that?
No question about that. But when you socialize with somebody and there are these gambling elements that come out of your bank account, I just think it warrants a very, very serious
How do you know they haven't done
gambling
that?
investigation.
Did they
because
call you and say
they didn't say anything about it?
How do you know it's not
as
going
a
on
fan,
still?
I care about it.
How do you know it's not going on still?
Because he's playing. Because
so what?
Well,
Should we suspend him for doing nothing? Say, hey, Shohei, your name's out there. You can't play for 28 games. That's not America, Chris. I'm shocked that you have this point of view.
Do you believe that baseball is investigating Shohei Ohtani?
This isn't really a baseball issue. This is a
to me
legal
it is.
issue.
It's a Major League Baseball issue.
It's a baseball issue, but it's a legal issue first.
I care about the Major League Baseball implications, not the legal implications.
Well, until
as
Shohei
a fan
Ohtani
of the sport.
Yeah, until he's shown to do something. No, I'm shocked that you have this point of view. You're Mr. Liberal, which I am too.
I'm not accusing him, but
yes, you are.
I am saying that based on the evidence that I know,
what evidence do you know should ban Shohei
the
Ohtani?
money came out of his bank account.
Is being stupid illegal?
What?
If that's what he did, if he was ignorant and figured I have so much money, I'm not American.
Sometimes being stupid is illegal.
No, it's
yes,
never
it is.
No,
yes,
never.
Just because you don't know about the crime doesn't mean that the crime wasn't committed.
Could not disagree more on this, and I agree. I would agree that if he did something, he deserves punishment for it, but absolutely not until something's proven. He has the right that everybody in this country has, even though he's not American. Absolutely, 100% disagree with everything you're saying. No other way. I mean, that's sports. That's life, right? The great thing about sports is people can disagree, and we can agree that we have to get Pat Glaus here, the head of the Ocean Sportsbook here at Gallery Bar Booking Games. Anything left to say real quick? You get a chance to respond. I don't want to just throw that at you.
No, that's fine.
All right, we'll talk later. Craig Berube will be on at 4. Ben Jones and John Brazier will be on at 3:30. Pat Glaus, the head of the Sportsbook, will be here when we come back. This is All In. We are at the Ocean Sportsbook, Gallery Bar Sportsbook Casino in Atlantic City watching the Phillies and 28 other things with 48 different color lights, 16 different kinds of audio, and a lot of atmosphere. I don't know what that is on the ceiling, but it's a nice little artwork. Maybe Picasso did it before he died. I have no idea. We are back with All In from Ocean Casino and Resort right after this. Stay with us.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, proven.
Leonard Skinnerd. Live in concert. Friday, June 28th, 9 p.m. Ovation Hall in Ocean Casino Resort. Celebrating 50 years of Leonard Skinnerd. On sale now at theoceanac.com. Leonard Skinnerd.
With over 7,200 square feet of 200 brewers in stock at all times, Pantheon Beverages now features 5 different flavors of their favorite slushy cocktails. You can also purchase all your wine, liquor, and other fine spirits right next door. Visit us on Facebook or online at pantheonbeverages.com for upcoming events and samples from your favorite brewery or local food vendor. Puss and Boots Tavern on Trenton Road in Fairless Hills is better than ever. Sit down, relax on their outdoor patio, and try their award-winning burgers and sandwiches. Visit their takeout store for all of your favorite takeout. And it's not just food. You can also stock up on beers, soda, cigars, snacks, and a variety of convenience items. Call 215-295-8236 to place your order or have them host your next party or affair. Get out and enjoy the summer weather today at Puss and Boots Tavern.
What's your name? Leonard Skinnard. Girl. Live in concert. Sweet. Friday, June 28th, 9 p.m. Ovation Hall in Ocean Casino Resort.
Give me 3 slaps, mister. Give me 3.
Celebrating 50 years of Leonard Skinnard. On sale now at theoceanac.com. Leonard Skinnard.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, proven. This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies.
We now return to All In with Paul Jolovitz, broadcasting live in Atlantic City.
All righty, we are back here at the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino and Resort. We have with us now at All In Mr. Pat Klaus, who is the director of the sports book here at Ocean. It is a great place. Before I ask you anything, Pat, that you're going to expect to be asked, I got to ask you this. We have somebody that's in the know here. How the hell do you have curved screens that appear straight in this 360-degree? I don't know how you do it. I can't even imagine, but I'm sure you have some kind of answer there.
Well, we spent a lot of money on it.
I'm sure you did, but I could spend a lot of money and still have, not the money you're going to spend. How do you curve an image and keep it? I don't know what I'm even asking. You know what I'm asking.
So it's a bunch of little 1 by 1 foot by 1 foot screens that are all slightly differentiated from one another. So it's a lot of work to make sure that everything is looking good, but when it all comes together, it looks really great.
It looks unbelievably great. You have a great sports book here. Summer's coming. Obviously, things are going tonight. The NFL draft, a different thing. You take lines in the draft as to who will be picked where. Obviously, games, you put injuries in, the public perception. Before I ask you this other question, I got to ask. I explain to people all the time. I've been a bettor my whole life. Horse racing and other sports. Books, Atlantic City, Vegas, private bookies before gambling was legal. They are not making lines. They're not telling you what they think is going to happen. They tell you what you think is going to happen. You want 50% of the action on either side. If you, Pat Klaus, were making the lines and you thought the Sixers were going to win by 20 tonight, you're not going to make the line 19.5 because the action will be one-sided and you put yourself at huge exposure and huge risk.
Yeah.
Do people realize that, do you think?
Well, it's changed a little bit, right? So 20 years ago, I would have said yes, dead on. As we get better at actually predicting things, we will sometimes say, hey, if we don't get 50% on a line, we'll just let the liability run.
And let the exposure go?
We'll let the exposure go, and we'll play against the customer. So it really comes down to our confidence in the specific game or the specific bet. So there's a difference with some of the lines. Some of it's exactly what you're talking about, trying to get it split 50-50.
Sure.
But other times we will trust ourselves and trust the line and let it go.
Hey, Paul, I saw some draft day action about J.J. McCarthy. And I believe the one line I saw was he's going to be either picked 5 or 6, but they've set it at like 5.5.
Yep.
And do you think that's an under or an over as far as where J.J. McCarthy gets picked in this draft?
All right, first of all, it's interesting that you guys are taking a position as a gambler basically with the risk.
Yeah.
I personally can't stand J.J. McCarthy. My father went to Ohio State. I'm a big Buckeye fan, but I like Corum, the running back from Michigan. Anybody who takes J.J. McCarthy in the first round is making a mistake. I said the same thing last year, and I said it way before the draft about the Kentucky quarterback. I can't remember his name now. He's quarterback of the Titans.
Will Levis.
Jesse Levis. Said Will Levis won't be drafted in the first round. People called me insane. He was the 33rd pick. J.J. McCarthy will clearly go in the first round with 6 quarterbacks. I think anybody who takes him 5, 6, or anything else, the team's going to have to make that mistake. But
would you anticipate a mistake getting made?
Yeah, because it's obvious enough that people think of this guy. I'm not a big fan, Pat and Chris, of people who move up without playing football. About guys who rocket up draft boards based on combine this or that or the other, or pro days, or 18,000 other factors. Pop in the tape, watch some football, and when I do that, Michael Penix is clearly the best quarterback in this draft. Obviously, he comes with some risks, the age factor, huge injury risk. But J.J. McCarthy, I'm not a big J.J. McCarthy fan. Where do you stand on that, and how do you make draft lines based on what, Pat?
Yeah, so it's interesting that you brought up Will Levis. Last year, the buzz late was Will Levis is going to go in the top 3. So we had a dramatic line.
3-3 it turned out.
Yeah, and he ends up going in the second round. So JJ has also been one. It's an earlier line movement, but when we first came out with our lines, JJ McCarthy was second round, 5th, 6th quarterback taken.
And how many football games has he played since then?
0.
Okay.
All the buzz was, especially coming out of the owners' meeting, was that the NFL likes him better than you're predicting him. So we just kept hearing this over and over again, and that goes to how we make our lines. Unlike a game or unlike a player prop, we don't have any models. We don't have any historical stats to go off of. We're just following the buzz like you're following the buzz.
Yeah.
We're just following where people are betting their money and moving the line. So you'll see these dramatic line shifts in a way that you would never see for a game.
What if somebody walked in here and said, I want $500,000 on J.J. McCarthy to go 4th, where you think either the guy's a trillionaire, has unbelievable information, or is just an idiot, and you will or won't allow that bet? How do you work it when somebody comes in with a bet that looks like it's a little bit more than random chance would like?
On something like this, we wouldn't touch it.
I would assume so, right?
This is an information game. The draft is an information game. Some people know the answers. Yeah. Most of us don't, but there's no action being played. There's no variables. It's just who are you taking? So, someone's coming in that confident, I'm thinking that they have insider information.
All right. How's the draft impacted betting behaviors headed into the season the past few years?
So, typically, the draft always has people betting overs. Everyone's excited by the draft. Nobody's getting worse when the draft happens, or at least in theory.
Yep.
So we definitely see lots of overs, lots of Super Bowl picks, and it's always about who had the most exciting draft. Last year, it wasn't in the draft, but the Aaron Rodgers trade and everything going on with the Jets, we had a flood of bets on the Jets preseason. 2 years ago, the A.J. Brown trade and what the Eagles were doing, that was the big one there. So typically, if you take an exciting player or have a splash trade or trade up, that's where we see a lot more bets come in.
You have algorithms, obviously, that are written by people and AI and all kinds of stuff that's way above where me or anybody else is. But when a line is 3.5, whatever, what kind of action? Obviously, it's different for every game. Every game is an individual entity. But if people are betting a game in any sport at any time, and you're standing there, who moves the line? Who corrects? When do they do it? What's the general formula for that? Obviously, it's something that's different all the time.
Yeah, speaking high level, kind of what I was going back to before, there's certain things that we'll have a higher confidence on, right? So if we have more of a history on something, it's later in the season, or if it's a type of bet that there's a lot of consistency in how it plays, we'll have a slow elasticity to change that line. If it's something that's first game of the season and we see money coming on it, that'll move the line much quicker. So it's really determining how much confidence do you have in that specific bet, and then you'll see how the money changes those things.
Pat Klaus here, the director of the sportsbook here at Ocean. Give the public, Pat, one thing that, or me or anybody else that at the sportsbook that we don't know about that you think is cool, and one problem that you have that we probably haven't figured out yet.
So, here at Ocean Sportsbook, one thing that's very cool is that we have the interplay with the table games and the slot machines in the same space. So it's really unique in that sense, in that it's an immersive experience to really be able to play your blackjack and your table games and have the full sportsbook, not just one TV on at a time. Yeah.
All right, and then is there a certain problem? Obviously, you guys are exposed. How'd you do in the Super Bowl this year, for example?
Super Bowl, we ended up okay. A lot of people didn't. We would have been a lot better if the 49ers had pulled that one out. But, yeah, here we definitely get a lot of fans from New York and Philly area. So we're constantly trying to manage, like I was saying, do you move the line just because the volume's coming in on your book? We're going to see a lot of Philly and New York bets come in, and so we have to make determinations on that.
Did Pat Glass, obviously being the head of a sports book, I'm sure you were a sports fan.
Yeah.
Who'd you grow up a fan of football-wise?
I grew up in Buffalo, so I'm a Bills fan.
All right, so now let's say the Bills are in the Super Bowl and you're way overexposed on the Bills. Is it Pat Glass, the human being, rooting for his Bills, or Pat Glass, the sportsbook director, rooting for whoever they're playing so that you'll keep your job?
That would be a really, really tough position to be in.
We know the Bills will lose, obviously, but
maybe I'll set the line up to make sure that people are betting the other way so that I can be cheering for my Bills.
You take tennis action here?
We do. You're
the owner. One of the most impressive human beings to me around. She's never won anything. She's won a lot of tournaments, but never a major. Is Jessica Pegula. She's the third-ranked women's player in the world, Chris. She's the daughter of the owner of the Buffalo Bills and his wife, Terry and Kim. She can lie on a hammock and live her life that way.
Yeah.
But she plays tennis, and she's gotten a third in the world. That impresses me.
It does.
Working when you don't have to.
Yeah. And she's a very fun person to follow and cheer for.
Hey, we got the Olympics coming up.
Yep.
Action on the Olympic Games?
Oh, we'll have it all. We'll have everything for the Olympics. We'll be covering it all hours of the day. We expect a lot of interest in some of the major sports that typically get bet, like basketball. That's where we see basketball and soccer. Right. But we'll have it all. We'll be covering most of it and have something to bet on pretty much anything you see on TV.
That's awesome.
Everything's on TV, so I can bet table tennis?
You can bet table tennis.
Have there been more action on local teams, Eagles, Giants, and Jets props versus others? I'm sure you don't have people coming in with Seahawks props. Everything gets one or two, but a lot more on the local teams?
Oh, a lot more on the local teams. This year, a lot of agreement with the Jets. It's all Brock Bowers. Everybody thinks Brock Bowers is going to be the pick.
I hope not, because I hope he falls down far enough for Howie can go up and get him.
For the Eagles, we're all over the place. It's corners and linemen, but
can you bet position?
You can bet position. You can bet to be a corner or it to be a lineman.
And if a corner plays safety half the time, you guys don't quibble, basically defensive back?
We don't quibble. We'll give you that.
Right.
But in terms of which corner or which lineman, it's all over the board. So there's not really a consensus here, at least in terms of what we're seeing.
All right, a couple more quick questions for Pat Glass. We appreciate you being here. Somebody obviously decides which of these 902 televisions and how big they're going to be. I'm sure you can adjust the sizes.
Yep.
I'm sure that can be one TV, what we're looking at. Who decides what and what size is on TV at any one time?
The guy with the remote control.
The guy with the remote control. You're looking at him, Tim Downey, right there. He's in charge.
One remote control.
He's got a big panel that can do a whole lot.
Pat, I can't figure out how to turn the sound up on my TV in my living room. He's got 800 televisions. I assume you can put the volume up if you want to.
Oh yeah, and it's his artwork to make sure that your viewing experience is as best as possible. Keep the basketball in this section if you're a basketball fan, but we really just follow the pulse of what's most popular in terms of what's going to be the main screen, and then obviously if somebody is putting down a lot of money, they'll probably get the volume and some priority screens on that too.
Gotcha. So you can make a request with Tim.
Yeah, you can make a request with Tim.
Nice.
Who do you have more money on for the Eagles to take than anybody else?
Terrion Arnold. Terrion Arnold
from
was
Alabama?
Yep, from Alabama, corner from Alabama.
Now, sorry to interrupt you. Does it matter in this situation if somebody bets Terrion Arnold? Doesn't matter whether they trade up, trade down, take him at 22. Just the first Eagle pick, Terrion Arnold.
Correct. So we have a bet for first pick for the Eagles to take, and we have a bet for who will be taken at 22. So depending on which one you do, but for who will the Eagles take, it's definitely Terrion Arnold is our number one. But after that, it's a spread of a bunch of different corners and linemen.
I got to ask you this, Pat. We all have situations in life that we laugh at. You guys take every friggin' thing in the world and every permutation of everything in the world. Have you ever put a permutation out or some type of eventuality that no one bet on? Your exposure and your risk and your action was zippity-doo-dah?
It happens more often than you think.
Nothing. Zero.
So we work with a group out of Europe who gives us all sorts of European hockey leagues and South American soccer leagues, and it's not often bet, but we have it here if that's your thing.
All right, Chris, I'm going to ask you a question that Pat knows the answer to, and I know the answer to. What is the second most bet sport in the world?
Oh, my gosh.
Most bet sport in the world is soccer. Internationally, but the second most bet sport in the world will surprise you. And I think I'm right, Pat. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
Well, I don't have the answer for total. I can tell you here, but I can't tell you.
I don't know if it'll be here or not.
Yeah.
But
I guess I'm going to guess
not American football because nobody bets it anywhere else.
tennis.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Tennis. You take a lot of action on tennis?
We get a lot of people who love to watch the live experience. So if we've got tennis on and we can bet point to point to point who's going to win each set, who's going to win each point.
It's like highlight, though. It's very easy to fix.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's been fixing scandals in tennis, tanking. First round at the Wazupi Open, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
The 312th ranked player in the world plays a bad set. He's the 312th ranked player in the world.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guard? I mean, you must limit your action and stuff like that.
Yeah, so the more high profile, the more we'll take, and on some of those lower things, we're probably not going to take that $500,000 bet or whatever you were talking about earlier on those things. But we do like to offer it because we offer so many things that we can handle it.
All right, what is the biggest bet? Before you were here, were you anywhere else? And if not, at this beautiful Ocean Casino Sportsbook, what's the biggest single bet you ever took?
So we've had a lot of requests for big action. For us, it was $300,000 on a Commanders game that we were willing to
Just
take.
a regular game, regular season game?
That was week 3, I believe.
Did you win?
The Cowboys ended up winning, covering the spread on that one.
So you were a Cowboy fan for a day. There's nothing wrong with that. While we still have you here, anything you want to tell us, anything you want to tell the people out there about Ocean, could be an ad blip, it could be whatever, something that they may not know you have, but you got a couple minutes, whatever you want to say to people out there, as Andy Reid would say, time's yours.
Yeah, well, we really like to utilize this draft as a promo to the NFL season. What we like to do is offer a couple things that are different from other places. So if the win total is, standard across the board, 10.5 wins, we might make it 9.5 for Eagles, Giants, Jets.
You guys are gamblers here. That's good.
So take a look at us. Take a look at our lines because we do want to offer something that brings you value as a fan and gives you a reason to come here.
Chris,
All right, so you're saying soccer is the most bet sport.
Yeah.
Tennis number 2.
Yep.
I'm wondering, as far as number of dollars,
Because there's a
how that
million
would
tennis
stack
tournaments
up.
every week.
Well, yeah, but the NFL, as far as the amount
But only
of
one
money,
country bets it, Chris. Asia bets so much more than China
but we're still
and Japan.
the world's number 1 economy.
No, we're not the number 1 gambling economy. The Far East is far bigger gambling-wise than here, right?
Yep, and we're still only halfway through getting all these states legalized. So,
All right, the draft, the number 1 non-sports event of the year. I would be remiss if I didn't ask Pat Glass, the director of the Ocean Sportsbook. When you walked over here, I knew I was going to talk to you at 3 o'clock. I'd never seen you before. You're like 28. How'd you get this job? Are you 28 or am I missing something?
I'm 31.
How the hell are you the head of a major sports book?
Well,
that's terrific.
That's the beauty of an industry getting legalized.
Yeah.
There's only so many people that have done it in the past. So I started in 2019, right when Pennsylvania legalized, and so the question is how many other people are out there doing it for more than 5 years. It's very few. Either you were in Vegas or you were in Europe.
I would imagine it would be like an actuarial scientist who would be in that job,
Yeah.
numbers cruncher. I mean, a high-level math person. Is
Actually,
that part of your background? I mean,
Yeah, so the more you do it, the more you kind of separate from the teams and the games itself, and you're really just looking at widgets and numbers. Yeah.
Buddy of mine was the CEO of 3 Vegas casinos, and I used to be able to go out there for free. I can't anymore because he moved to Seminole in Florida, but this is closer anyway, and it's fun to come here. He would get a call, Pat, in the middle of the night. I mean, 3 in the morning, whatever. If somebody's betting a big, and he had nothing to do with a sports book. He's a CEO of the casino, but he's obviously got the bottom line to watch out for. If somebody wanted to bet enough, and it would have to be ridiculous, they would call and wake him up, and he would either decide do it, not do it, let them decide. Is there that kind of situation for you? Is anything past your pay level where you have to actually say, sir, can we do this?
Yeah, certainly, because, we have an expectation of how much volume is going to come in over the course of a year. And so if there's one bet that's going to switch what our model would be, it really comes down to a company-wide decision of if it's something we're going to take on or not.
All right, now we switch to Pat Glass, the sports fan, for a second.
Yeah.
Sixers-Knicks, Game 3. You getting more action on the Sixers or the Knicks? And what do you think is going to happen in this series where obviously anything can happen?
We're getting a lot of action on both sides. This one has been one, it's Philly and New York, so obviously we have that. But there's been a lot of disagreement on it. So we're getting both sides of it pretty heavy. I tend to think the Knicks are going to finish this one out, but I can't say that we have one versus the other because it has been very mixed.
I mean, are there certain sports that are more dominant? Sorry to interrupt you, Jolly.
Okay.
That lend themselves more to player props and those types of wagers?
Yeah, with anything nowadays.
Right.
Anything.
It's a lot. Basketball is really big for player props. It's really a player-driven league, so that's why there's a lot of interest on that kind of thing. Baseball has always been the stats world game and things like that, and football's king. So football, at the end of the day, is going to
with basketball, I'm thinking like the player props and Embiid going over 30, or those are intriguing to me as a fan.
Yeah, as far as player props go, NBA has the highest percentage of people betting player props rather than game totals.
With that said, Pat Glass, do you promise to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Raise your right hand, please.
Depends on the question.
Do you think more people? I bet to win. I'm not an action bettor. I bet to win. Obviously, sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. Bet horse racing, derbies next week, sports. I tend not to bet in-game betting because I think that's just an action thing for people that are compulsive, which is fine for you guys. Do more people bet games or props or everything that you offer because they're there or because they think they're going to win, in your opinion? Obviously, you don't ask when they come up, but how many people bet because they can't control themselves or because they just love action on everything, love to watch everything in this beautiful sports book? And how many people say, the Eagles are going to win that game, I'm laying the 6?
It really is fandom, right? We're seeing people bet on their own teams.
Okay.
Philly had a little bit of, hedging against your own team when I used to work in PA.
Yeah.
But especially with the New York crowd, we really see, I'm buying this wave of the Giants 2 years ago, or I'm buying this hype in the Jets. And it's a way, I guess, to just have a little bit more excitement about the team you're cheering for.
One thing, I don't have a lot of patience in my life, Jolly. So
you're not a doctor?
I can't relate to these people who can pick the Phillies to win the World Series when it's spring training. And then
you get odds to do that. You're not betting with even money.
But I don't have the patience to wait out the entire season to see if I'm going to win. I'll probably lose the ticket.
If you make the bet, you have no choice. There's no way you can freeze dry the baseball season and end it on April 6th.
Well, that's why that's not for me.
Gee, what about New York not having gambling yet? How does that affect you? Obviously, in a positive way.
Well, New York recently just started, and they have online gaming now. So
online, but not on site. There's no casinos yet.
Yeah, there's not many. There's one in Schenectady, Niagara Falls.
The reservations, yep.
Yep. But really, what brings people here is the building and the sports book itself. So, oftentimes you can pull out your phone and make a bet, but there's a reason that people like to come and do it in person and be part of the atmosphere.
A lot of every casino in the world is something that you have no conception of. I don't know what the heck that is on the ceiling, but it's pretty cool. Who designed this whole thing with the lights and the atmosphere? It's just a beautiful experience. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, it took a lot of planning, and it was a big project to overhaul. To come in and redo the sportsbook, which is right in the center of the casino.
Absolutely.
So it is the eye of the hurricane. It is the place that everybody comes to. So we wanted a space that wasn't just a place to bet sports, but offered everything and was a place where there was a good atmosphere all day long, right? This is open 24/7. You can bet at any time, and it really has that feel of being an exciting place to be.
I feel good because you always forget one question, and I forgot one question that I want to ask. If a prop bet is obviously, there's a literal prop bet where you tell the bookie, or the teller in this case, I want to bet Connor McDavid to score 9 goals tonight, or something that you have no line on.
Yeah.
Do you take prop bets, suggestive prop bets, and if so, how do you decide, and do you have to be called in for a certain dollar amount?
Yeah, I'd have to be called in, and we would take a look. We'd entertain it, but it's not going to happen right away, right? If you want something, let us know ahead of time. We'll see if we can build something out for you, if we can make a market for it. But we will entertain it. So if you got anything you want, let us know.
All right, it's one-stop shop and it fits all. It's a great sports book, Pat. The Gallery Bar Book and Games here in Atlantic City Ocean is spectacular. You can bet the game, watch it. We'll be watching the draft and the Sixer game, and others be watching their baseball games and everything else tonight. And there's plenty of places to watch it. It's a great atmosphere. You do a great job, and thank you so much for being here. We always appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All righty, Pat Glass, the director of the sportsbook here at Ocean Casino. Come on down. It is a wonderful place, Chris Ermer. We will have Ben Jones from BCWSA, John Brazier from the Phillies at 3:30. When we come back from this break, it could be 3:31. You take your chances in radio. We're back with All In from Atlantic City, from Ocean Casino, right after this. Stay with us.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, proven. This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
What's your name?
Leonard Skinnard. Live in concert. Friday, June 28th, 9 p.m. Ovation Hall in Ocean Casino Resort.
Give me 3 slaps, mister. Give me 3 slaps.
Celebrating 50 years of Leonard Skinnard. On sale now at theoceanac.com. Leonard Skinnard.
With over 7,200 square feet of 200 brewers in stock at all times, Pantheon Beverages now features 5 different flavors of their favorite slushy cocktails. You can also purchase all your wine, liquor, and other fine spirits right next door. Visit us on Facebook or online at pantheonbeverages.com for upcoming events and samples from your favorite brewery or local food vendor. Puss and Boots Tavern on Trent Road in Fairless Hills is better than ever. Sit down, relax on their outdoor patio, and try their award-winning burgers and sandwiches. Visit their takeout store for all of your favorite takeout. And it's not just food. You can also stock up on beers, soda, cigar, snacks, and a variety of convenience items. Call 215-295-8236 to place your order or have them host your next party or affair. Get out and enjoy the summer weather today at Puss and Boots Tavern.
We now return to All In with Paul Jolovitz, broadcasting live in Atlantic City.
All righty, we're back here with All In at the Ocean Casino Resort, the Gallery Book and Sports Bar. We thank you so much for Pat Glass, the director of the Sportsbook, for being here. We now have a guy that's a friend of all of ours, been a friend of mine for about 70 years with the Phillies. I think it's neat that this guy's worked for the Phillies for like 35 years, and he's about 423rd in seniority. People stay with the Phillies. Must be a bunch of nice people. Winning 5-0 today. John Brazier, how are you?
Jolly, how you doing?
Your mic's not on.
Oh, Jolly, how you doing?
Good. Everything good? Everything good with you?
Everything's good because if I'm allowed to say it, I'm watching the Fighting Phils right now.
Yep. By the way, we are doing this show on Thursday afternoon, streaming on YouTube at WBCB Sports. It'll be on terrestrially tomorrow, which you're hearing tomorrow today, Friday, so you get a little bit of both worlds. Phillies winning 5-0, going to split this series as they go out to San Diego, yep.
Well, you're not jinxing us, are you? Because I'm very superstitious right now.
All right, you might win. It's the 8th inning.
All right. Well,
Jeff Hoffman will seal
we saw what happened with the Sixers. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves here.
Sports can happen anyway. There's no time limit. Yep.
All good, Jolly. This is my 31st season with the Phillies.
And where are you in seniority?
I'm not in the top 20.
That's amazing.
I'm not. I think I'm right around there. I'm about 22, 23 last time I checked. And I've been with BCB for, I don't know, Lee, what do you think, about 20 years, 22 years?
Promo your show. Pump your show. Tell everybody about.
Well, of course we do. I was about to promote my podcast. I do the show with Tommy Green, Baseball Insiders.
Sunday.
We do it every Sunday. We do it an hour right before the game. So usually if a 1:30 game at home or 12:30 to 1:30, we do it right from the CP Ranking Club and then we do it from the Pines Tavern up until Memorial Day, and then we do it down here. We do it at Keenan's in North Wildwood. So a lot of fun. Always enjoy doing that.
John, you're the director of Fun and Games. Something everybody would love a fun title. I talk about Tyrese Maxey and the joy that he plays with. Everybody wants joy and fun in life. We have enough bad things going on. This is a beautiful sports book. You have to make fans have fun. You have a million great promotions. What technically does the director of Fun and Games do, and how cool is it to have that title?
Well, I'll back it up. So I started 31 years ago. I was 6 years out of college when I took the job. When I graduated college, I played and coached lacrosse in Manchester, England, and then I got in the insurance industry. Did that for 5 years. Went to a wedding in Philadelphia in 1993, and I met the guy who was vice president of marketing for the Phillies. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I was living in D.C. I didn't really think about that you could
and the Phillies won a World Series year.
Work in sports, right? They're on their way to the World Series. Obviously, didn't know it then. But this guy had great stories about Kruk and Dalton and Dykstra, and I said, man, this guy's got a great job. Well, he started talking to me about, what do I do for a living? And then I was kind of a little overserved there, and I'm singing with a band, doing all kinds of things. And he said, do you have any sports marketing experience? I said, yes, I marketed the sport of lacrosse throughout the country of England.
Manchester, yeah.
Yes, and he said, what does that mean? And I doubled down kind of on my BS, and I said, yeah, I did a lot of branding, marketing, PR. He said, John, what exactly did you do over there? I said, fine, I played and coached, but I did go on a radio station one time, which is PR, marketing, and branding. So next thing you know, 4 months later, he hired me. So I started in February '94.
As the director of Fun and Games?
No, I was some muckety-muck title. I forget what it was. But I remember going to radio stations because my job was basically to be the marketing spokesperson for the team, get free publicity. And I figured radio, TV would be the best way to do that. So I'd go on these radio shows, and the DJs would be in Hawaiian shirts and flip-flops, and I'd be in a suit, and I'm all corporate. And I said, I got to change some things up here. I got to, because when I got back, they were asking me about my title. I couldn't get what I was trying to promote. So I said to my boss, I need a new title, and I need to ditch the suit. So I ditched the suit, and then I remember sitting at a Phillies game, and we're trying to come up with a title. We said, Vice President of Shenanigans. I said, too much responsibility on the front end, too long of a business card.
VP.
Manager of tomfoolery. Well, maybe give myself a little higher than manager. Then we came up with director of Fun and Games, and from that point on, it worked. But the tough part is the very beginning. You still got to deliver. You got to be fun to figure to have the title director of Fun and Games.
Yep. And so Fun and Games, you have a lot of great promotions. Tell us a few. Tell any of the fans what they can look forward to in the next couple weeks, couple months here.
We have a lot of stuff going on. The fun part is we have some baubles. We have a Trey Turner bobble doll. We have a Stott bobble doll. We have a Bryce Harper cooling headband. One of the coolest is
cooling headband.
Cooling headband. It keeps you cool.
Keeps the sweat out.
Yeah, keeps the sweat out. One of the coolest is actually we're doing it for kids. We're doing a Nick Castellanos basketball jersey, which would be cool. We are retiring. Cole Hamels is going to be officially retiring.
Saw Cole a couple weeks ago. He looks great.
Yep, and we're doing a replica 2009 ring. We have a Schwarbaum beach towel. That'll be good for the summer as it's coming up.
Do you think these up? Are these given to you? Do you think these up?
No, we have a group. Scott Brandon, Eric Pesch, that whole group. They come out. They basically, a lot of these guys, Scott Wolfie, they go around to the minor leagues. They see what the trends are around baseball or around sports, and they'll say, hey, and oftentimes it's the minor league teams that lead in really creativity.
Because they have to. Baseball doesn't bring people.
Exactly. So we have our own minor league teams, the Reading, the Fightins and Lehigh Valley. So they'll come back and we'll get a big meeting. Usually the first meeting's in August for the next year, and they'll say, all right, we have to talk to baseball ops and say, all right, we got to, basically if we're going to do a player giveaway, it's got to be someone on a long-term contract, right?
Hey, Dave, you're going to trade this guy?
Well, yeah, because you don't want to do, we've done that. 100 pence.
Sure.
We had a 100 pence giveaway, and then we still did a giveaway, but we had to get 100 pence's permission do that, right? So there's a lot of things that go into it, and then it's slotting it out as far as, kids giveaways, a women's giveaway, a men's giveaway. So it's a little bit of a, jigsaw puzzle.
All right, we have John Brazier, the director of Fun and Games for the Phillies, with us. Team's winning 5-0 now. Hopefully they can hold on today. John, you talked about minor leagues and bringing fans into the ballpark. Obviously, if a team's winning, and if teams winning in Philadelphia, fans are going to come. They're going to set up the ballpark every night. Your job probably is more crucial to the team when they suck and nobody's coming. Now the fans, I mean, it could be argued that no promotion has anything to do with the number of fans there. It's not your fault in any way, shape, or form. In fact, I'm sure you're happy because the team is on a roll. How does that all play in the way I put it?
Well, we are basically an entertainment. People always say, are you competing against the Eagles, Flyers, Sixers? No. Union. We are not. We are competing against the Jersey Shore. We're competing against casinos. We're competing against concert venues. I guess a little bit with other team sports when we do crossover. But for the most part, we are competing for the discretionary dollar for someone to spend, on entertainment. And sports is entertainment. So when you come to a game, a teenager, their experience, my 16-year-old daughter, she's going to come to the game. She's going to want to go with her friends out to Ashburn Alley, get something to eat, hang out on Ashburn Alley with their friends, walk around. They'll barely be in their seats. You get somebody who's the diehard sports fan, they're going to want to see that scoreboard, that new scoreboard on field, basically, that has every analytics detail. It's a little too analytical for me because I can't understand half of them. But you know what I mean? So that's what the good thing about baseball is that it's for everybody. You have something for every demographic. So we are competing against those entities, and we want to make sure, even if we're good, we want to make sure that if they're there, we need to make sure they're having a great time, because in bad times, we need to get them there to come to the game because they want to have a good time regardless of the team.
If I could tell you how many times somebody said, I went to the ballpark, it was a terrible game, but I had a great time.
Yeah.
You guys do a great job.
That's our goal.
Chris?
Yeah, when we went to the Sixers, at a certain point, all my daughter cared about was whether or not we were going to get chicken.
Right.
The Brickin' for
But
Chicken
that's
promotion.
fun, right?
So, she loved it and was hoping to see fouls and was watching the game entertained just on the, fact of whether or not we were going to get 2 missed free throws by the opposition. I love that
because you see all the kids screaming for it.
What percentage of the crowd do you think comes to watch? I know there's no way to know this, but I'm sure you guys have done studies.
Well, hold on a second. I want to make a point that the Phillies need to give something away.
Wow.
All right, we need to come up with a Phillies promotion.
If someone strikes out 4 times in a game, like it's a golden sombrero?
Yeah.
Something.
I like it.
How many people come to the game, do you think, to watch baseball and the Phillies? And how many people come for the atmosphere and anything else around the ballpark, including your stuff?
I think the majority are people that are just coming for the experience in general. I mean, I think the diehard baseball fan, you've got, I'm not going to put it in percentage, but it's a definitely smaller group than the group like my daughter who wants to come to the game because their friends are there. It's a cool atmosphere. It's fun. It's 2.5 hours of entertainment going out and, again, experiencing different food. If they're small, they can go out to, play on the little field out there or climb the rock wall or, do the hitting cage and all that. So
the mere fact that that's all there, the mere fact that ballparks are interactive and fun tells me, and obviously common sense would too, the more people go for the ballpark on a beautiful summer night to hang out, have some food, get a souvenir or two, enjoy a ball game, but that 6-4-3 is not the main reason that they're there.
I mean, I think I go there and I'm watching. Sometimes I'm taking my daughter, right? She's 16 now, so it's a little different when she was 5. When she was 5, all she wants to see is the Fanatic and get Dippin' Dots or get something, get water ice. But yeah, it's. I think there are a lot of people that obviously want to watch the game and are so into the game that want to see the speed of pitch, type of pitch, and again maybe go through those analytic stats. But I think most of the people want to just enjoy a good time.
All right, do you promise to tell the whole truth and nothing but truth? So
sure.
help you God?
Please raise your right hand.
When the home team throws a pitch, is the speed gun ever raised by a mile or two to make the pitcher more confident or give the impression of something on the mound? Home teams' pitchers always seem to throw harder than road teams' pitchers.
Well, actually, that's something the Phillies do give away something with every pitch that's over 100 miles per hour.
95.
I believe there's a charitable donation that's made.
50 pounds of food for every pitch over 95.
They may have to pay the price if they jack up the gun.
I don't know if we bump that up.
This is everybody, not just the
You know
Phillies.
what's funny? You talk to old school. If you talk to like Larry Boa, you talk to Charlie Manuel, talk to Greg Lazinski, they'll say that when they were, it was coming out of their hand when they did it. And now they're doing when it's crossing the plate.
6 mile an hour difference.
Right. So they think that the gun's being judged, and that's why. Now I think players now, pitchers now are bigger, stronger. You see that in any sport. You watch a soccer game, lacrosse game, basketball game. People are bigger. Players now are bigger, better nutrition, better take care of themselves. They're more specialized. They're probably playing that sport longer than we did growing up. So it's no doubt that they have biometrics and all kinds of stuff that allows him to now throw harder. But, I mean, yeah.
I have a personal question for you. I don't normally ask these, but this is a rare opportunity with you at a beautiful casino. This is WBCB, the greatest radio station.
And I'm not allowed to gamble, Charlie.
Not allowed to gamble, that's true. But
well, gamble on baseball.
Somebody used to work with the WIP that you know very, 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 very well. She's only at the Phillies games if they play. I don't think she goes to every road game, but what does Cindy Webster mean to the Phillies?
Cindy is an example of someone who is extremely passionate.
Extremely.
She probably went to games when she was young and was probably a big Fanatic fan. And then she grew into the love of baseball and watched the game. But now, yes, she knows everybody in the organization, and she's almost like a mascot in her own way.
And you got the greatest mascot in the world. Just had the birthday last week. You had all these guys come in.
Philly Fanatic is the greatest mascot.
I was talking to a friend of mine in England yesterday.
Yep.
And he knows nothing about baseball. And we started talking about the Fanatic. And I sent him a picture of the Fanatic. I sent him a video of what he's doing. I said, does Liverpool have a mascot? They really don't. But the Philly Fanatic drives people to the ballpark.
Yep.
He's on Sports Center. I mean, Tom Burgoyne and his friend, Dave Raymond, his old friend, it really is an amazing thing. How important are they to the Phillies, and how much do Dave and John and everybody, the Poobahs, pay attention to that?
I think they're big time. I mean, the whole, especially as you said, when the team is not good, you look at our calendar, you look at our highlights, you look at, a lot of things, it's all Fanatic, right? And you know when we're good when you don't see the Fanatic on the calendar that year, right? or at least maybe on the back. But the Fanatic in 1978, it's a revolutionary thing. The only, the San Diego Chicken was around, but the San Diego Chicken was owned by the radio station. It was not the San Diego Padres Chicken.
Didn't you guys get in a little bit of hot water about the initial ownership of the
We did,
Fanatic?
Yep. So then the Fanatic, basically when it exploded on 78, who would have thought that in Philadelphia, the town that is so hard to try something new, to basically experiment, right? It's a hard city, right? We're kind of stuck in our way. We're caustic. Yeah. We're East Coast, greedy, hard-nosed. And who would have thought that the Fanatic, right, would be a hit right away? And it was. We had Dave Raymond on the WBCB radio show on Sunday, and Dave was saying he was scared to death. He didn't know what the reaction's going to be to the Fanatic.
Looks like it worked out.
But it worked out really well, and you can tell by Tom Lasorda just couldn't. When a manager gets that upset over a mascot, he's has an effect on the game.
Lasorda had legendary battle. I think they were real. A lot of people thought it was just fake.
Oh, I know. I can tell you firsthand. I had Tommy in a car. For some reason, I guess Tommy was going to throw out the first pitch at a Phillies game. And I took him around to radio stations, and I asked a seemingly innocuous question. Hey, Tommy, what's your is that whole thing with the Fanatic an act? You don't really hate him, do you?
The answer was 10 minutes long, I guarantee you that.
He started off slow, then he started getting redder and redder. Next thing you know, I'm getting spit in my face, and he's got steam coming out of his ears, and I can't turn off the spigot.
Do you have anything to do with who, just before you bring Ben Jones on, our sponsor from BCWSA, do you have anything to do with who throws out first pitches, that stuff like that? And do they have to demonstrate the ability to do that? Or just the ability to be a celebrity or hot for some reason?
Usually our first pitches are sponsor-related, charity-related. There's a reason why they're throwing out the first pitch. Now, obviously, we do have celebrities that will throw out the first pitch. We've got, I believe, Joe Watson from the Flyers. It is the 50th anniversary.
80 years old.
Yep, 50th anniversary of the 74 team. And on Monday, May 6th, Joe Watson will be throwing the first pitch. So that's where it makes sense. We've had certain Eagles and Sixers. We've had Miles Teller. We've had some others. But for the most part, the first pitches are, again, something through a sponsorship or group sale.
Like Joe Watson should use a hockey stick, though.
Hockey puck.
Well, it's also on Bark in the Park Day, right? May 6th. So I think you should the ball should be caught by Bob Kelly, the Hound. Right? You got to have the Hound be part of it if it's on Bark in the Park Day.
The mind's always working with John Brazier, and the mind's also always working with the CEO of BCWSA, Ben Jones, who is nice enough to sponsor this fine program.
And he sponsors Baseball Insider Show.
And he sponsors the Baseball Insiders, absolutely dressed in black and jeans today at this beautiful casino. Ben, we know, obviously, BCWSA, you got stuff to say about them, but the NFL drafts tonight, we all have opinions. It's a great day. It's the biggest non-sports day in the country for an actual event. Anything on the NFL draft you want to show?
Can you flip that on?
Got to flip it on.
Is it on?
Ben's a CEO, not a sound engineer.
I flip it on.
Absolutely not.
Sorry
There we
about
are.
that.
That's
Don't
okay.
ask a CEO to do something simple.
No,
So-
I mean,
Any thoughts, though, on who you want the Eagles to take, what they're going to do?
no, I mean, obviously, in terms of, I could sit here and talk about linebackers and things of that nature that I think that they need, but I'm in agreement that we need some depth on the defense,
Need some
on the
starters,
defensive
too.
line. Yeah.
All right,
I
so-
mean, we've lost a lot. We don't have what we need in order to get through a season. Unfortunately, because of the position, your big guys, you're going to lose. You're going to lose some folks. So
Well, one thing we didn't lose the baseball game today.
I see that.
Jeff
I see that,
Hoffman has just
5-0.
closed
We
out a
needed that.
5-0 win. Yeah, needed it. Split the series, going out to San Diego. Any thoughts on the Phillies win? Does that make you happy? You're at a casino. You're at the sports book. You're already happy. Does this kick you up another notch, as Emerald would say?
This is amazing. I love watching the team, especially they were due on Cincinnati.
John Brazier can exhale, who was superstitious and
Well, I can't exhale because you don't want to. We won the first game, lost the last two, and it wasn't pretty. Bryce was on paternity leave, and again, the last couple of games were fairly ugly. Today, it's nice to have Zach Wheeler on the mound, and you had Kirkering and Hoffman, and they only gave up 3 hits. So it's nice to see. That's why you have a Zach Wheeler. He's a stopper. He can stop losing streaks, what he did.
6 innings, 1 hit, no runs,
Yep.
4 walks. Okay, that's not great, but 8 strikeouts. I'll take that every time. Each reliever gave up a hit, a 3-hitter.
And Bryce hit a home run, which is good to see.
Bryce hit a home run. The starting pitching's been amazing. Ben, what's your favorite sport? I know you're a big Eagle guy. You got the Sixers playoff game tonight. Flyers, we're going to have Craig Ruby at 4. Obviously fell short this year. He wasn't with the Flyers, but he's coached the Flyers. 4 for 4. I know you like all 4, but where does your heart lie? And which way, if you could only watch the draft or the game tonight, which would you watch?
I played football, so obviously football is my top sport.
Were you
and
drafted?
I love the Phillies, and I like the Red Sox too, but we won't tell anybody that.
Sorry, it's an American League team.
I once asked my father, by the way, I thought I was a pretty good baseball player in high school. I asked my father, do you think I'll be drafted? And my father said, if we're at war when we're 18, you just might, son. That kind of took me away from baseball.
I got to tell you, I got to put a plug in for this one. My brother, of course, is a huge Red Sox fan. My eldest brother, he's a Harvard professor, teaches music, and his condo looks into the stadium, so he can watch it from his living
condo,
room.
400 feet up?
Yeah, it's like 10 stories.
Wow. Into Fenway.
But even better than that.
Can he actually watch a game and tell you who won?
You can. Yes, you can. It's right across the street. But most importantly, he gets to sing the national anthem this May.
Really?
Yes, he does.
Did he get that through John Brazier?
Has he done that before?
Yeah. I mean, his last concert, he retired from singing. His last concert was in Carnegie Hall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but he
Wow.
sings
He's legit.
classical music.
Right.
So, yeah, so it's really exciting
This
for
is your
him.
brother.
This is my eldest brother.
Now, do you have those same singing chops?
Absolutely not.
So you're not going to sing for us right now?
No. But I do play guitar.
Okay.
I played guitar since I was 7 years old.
Anything to tell us? We always dive into the corporate world for a second. Summer's coming. We just filled up our pool. People filling up pools, doing stuff climate-wise in their house. We hear about water shortages here and there. It never rains. Too much water.
Not this year.
Not this year. It doesn't look like that. Tell us something about BCWSA that people would like to know, or that you'd like to get out there, Ben.
I'm sorry, I don't have the earphones on. What did you say?
Tell us something. Tell the listening audience something that is happening at BCWSA that your listeners, that customers may want to know, and anything from the corporate end that's brewing there that you want to tell people.
A couple of things. First off, in answer to your question, we're always capable of delivering water to somebody's pool, especially if they're on a well. That's particularly important because even if it is a good year for water, it really takes a toll on it. So if they dial in 1-800-222-2068, they can actually get water delivered to their house.
And more importantly, and I mention this every time, they get a human being 24/7, 365, unless there's leap year, which there is this year. You don't get a recording. That to me is
That
unbelievable.
is absolutely true. Yes, you can get in there and do that. And to that point, we just celebrated our 62nd year. We had our rededication yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
And as a result of that, we have been recommitted to rebuilding our facilities after the potential sale. And as a result, we've actually invested over $250 million so far. And we're going to be putting in at least another 2 phases coming up that's replacing a lot of the infrastructure, many of which we acquired, but is also 40 to 60 years old. So that's real positive for us and our customers. And again, our rate increases have been fairly low coming through this, and we don't anticipate anything large in order to do that. We should be able to carry those and be able to do some things.
Are you for-profit or not-for-profit?
We are not for profit.
And that has to be with a utility in any way, right?
What it is our customers are our clients, and they're also our holders, our bond holders. In many cases, they actually buy our bonds on Wall Street.
So, Ben, I'm wondering if you can envision a way that you could incorporate more fun and games in BCWSA and maybe have John do some consulting. I'm not sure if there's a lot of...
You want me to come over and fill a pool?
Lee Alexander was hired.
I want to see you go into a pool, maybe a dunking tank.
There we go.
Wait a second.
go.
You
I
hired
love John.
Lee Alexander for marketing. What about John Brazier for some fun and games? Splash people.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. In fact,
Anytime
you
you want, Ben.
I'm going to have Tommy Green pitch when we set up the dunking
when
tank.
I'm in the dunk tank.
If you had a promotion, if you had a fun and games promotion,
not a bad idea, by
what,
the way.
what would it be?
If I had a promotion.
Everybody who gets water in the swimming pool gets a Michael Phelps bobblehead or something?
You know what? We're just a traditional water company. And you know what? What we do is we provide good, clean water. That sounds like something just
Until
basic,
you don't
but
have
is
it, right?
true. That's right. It's really important. But
Okay.
I will say this. We do have a charity golf outing coming up. Wanted to also mention that July 29th, which is a Monday. It's at Commonwealth Country Club.
course.
And that's a beautiful course.
Yep.
We got two good charities this year, one of which is the Special Equestrians that work with special needs kids and the horses and so forth that walk along with it. And the other one is a benefit that actually the name escapes me at the moment because we just picked it yesterday. But nonetheless, it's to help younger women and so forth, to assist them through the process as they make some decisions, and more importantly, to assist them should they decide to have the babies. So.
That is terrific. Wonderful to hear. Quick question for you here. By the way, Lee Alexander and John Brazier are almost wearing the same shirt, the green and white check pattern, a little bit different.
Wow.
Ben, if you were...
I didn't get the memo.
You're CEO of a company. You have bad days, I'm sure. Let's say you're having a terrible day. Something's going wrong in your personal life, not emergency, but it's just going wrong. You're pissed off at work. You had traffic coming down, 3 other things. And then you walk into this casino and you're right here, right now. Is it possible to be upset sitting in this unbelievably idyllic setting with all the lights, all the noise, all the action, all the buzz?
You know what? One of the greatest things for anybody that's not been here is just to come into this sports bar and just look at the panoramic view of all the sports. If you're a sports fan, I don't care if you don't even like that particular sports. Bottom line is, this is amazing. I mean, there's nothing better than this. The music in the background also helps because I love music. So, yeah, this is special.
And the fact that we're going to have the draft and we're going to have the Sixers game. There'll be more baseball games. I think the golf event, PGA, right, Zurich.
Well, you got a casino down the street. You ever think of putting the casino in at the ballpark for people to come watch during a game? Something like this?
We have one down the street.
You do, but you can't see the game from there.
It's true.
I will say this about the draft, though. You asked me what I'd thought about the draft and everything else. I always think the Eagles do well in the draft. I mean, we've always been very good at that. And if I sit there and talk, I know you always disagree about certain things about this, but the reality is, I'm not going to jinx them. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and tell them what I know because I don't know.
All right, if 22,
we
50,
all have opinions.
First round tonight, 22, 50 and 53 tomorrow night. In your opinion, how many of those 3 numbered picks will the Eagles take? 0, 1, 2, or 3? I'm saying 1. Maybe 50 or 53, but I think Howie packages one of the 2s with 22 to go up and get somebody tonight.
I think he's going to go up to get cornerback. I do. I think he's going to get the kid from Alabama.
Could be Cooper DeJean.
Or the kid from Toledo. Cooper DeJean would be great from Iowa. Yep. Very versatile. But I that's what I want. I want a cornerback. Right. I think that's the biggest need.
Got to cover people as long as people throwing passes. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, that's been an issue for us. And again, I'd love to see some defensive linemen.
Maybe some kind of promotion with the water boy. Right? The water boy, BCWSA.
There we go. I don't know if they even use the traditional water any longer on the field. So
Gatorade boy.
That's right.
You guys ever think of a cross promotion where you guys water the field every day after every game? Maybe get it from BCWSA?
We could.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll talk at dinner.
Talk at dinner.
Over some water.
Right. We want to thank you, as always, Ben, for sponsoring us and letting us come down here and just being a part of this amazing thing. We were talking to Pat earlier, the manager of the sportsbook. To either of you guys, obviously there's an answer because we're actually watching it. Do you have an idea how you get a television curved and yet still displaying pixels at head-on efficiency? It shocks me every time I see it. How does a TV get curved?
We actually got the answer earlier today.
We did.
And what was the answer?
Yeah.
They're all like 1 by 1 inch little TVs
They're all mini
that are
TVs.
placed together, and then they create the screen. But each little image is a small little.
I love technology.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have
You
no
guys got
clue.
your scoreboard, obviously.
Like a centimeter square or something.
Between your scoreboard and this situation here, Bill Gates would have to be involved. Just serious money.
I think you're right. And I'm looking at our old Rex Hudler, former Phil, 1997.
Yep.
Right?
Great guy, right over there.
Yep, right out of the Kansas City Royals broadcast. He was a big wide receiver recruit coming out of high school.
Wow.
In fact, he was going to go to Notre Dame, and he was going to be paired up with, I think, Joe Montana.
Wow. You never think she was 1970, 1980, and Montana came out 79. John Brazier gave you some football information. We thank you, John, for being here so much. Continue good luck with the baseball show on Sundays.
Thanks,
and
Jolly.
Good luck with the Phillies. Let's go to another series.
And I'll continue to text you when I'm driving home from events and I hear you on the other station.
Yeah, I was on WIP the other night. I was saying something, and all of a sudden I get a text from Brazier. I love that. Somebody's listening and has the gumption to text, and he was right.
Right.
So
and I like when you argue with the callers.
Hey,
It's good.
Paul, you get your City Connect hat yet?
I don't like the City Connect uniforms. I got to be honest with you. They're not the Phillies. They're the wrong color.
That's relief because I don't have to get him a hat now.
You done that? I just I'm not a big uniform guy to begin with. I don't really care. Phillies can play in whatever color uniforms. I got to be honest. But the City Connect, I feel like I'm watching a New Zealand rugby team or something like that. I'm still rooting for you to win as much as always. And I'd wear the hat. It's a nice hat, but it's not the Phillies to
So
me.
you're saying we should do the haka?
Yeah,
right?
the hockey dance before the game.
Right.
Be
Okay.
tremendous.
The objective is to be different, right?
I know you do the hockey dance every day before work at BCWSA.
Yeah, no.
No?
Sometimes
Absolutely
I've
not.
been known to hock a loogie.
There we are. Hockey dance or not. Thanks, Ben, for being here.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
John, for
All
being
right.
here.
See you, Jolly.
Appreciate it. All right, John Brazier, Ben Jones, terrific. John from the Phillies, Ben from BCWSA. We thank both of them. We're going to have Craig Berube, hockey coach, won a Stanley Cup with the Blues in 2019, has coached the Flyers, and I'm sure will coach again. We'll find out his plans, maybe, and much, much more about the Flyers, the Stanley Cup playoffs, and where the Flyers are going. As All In continues from the Gallery Bar Book and Sports Bar at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. We are back with Craig right after this.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, proven. This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for autopay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
What's your name?
Leonard Skinnard. Live in concert. Friday, June 28th, 9 p.m. Ovation Hall in Ocean Casino Resort.
Give me 3 slaps, mister. Give me 3
Celebrating 50 years of Leonard Skinnard. On sale now at theoceanac.com. Leonard Skinnard.
With over 7,200 square feet of 200 brewers in stock at all times, Pantheon Beverages now features 5 different flavors of their favorite slushy cocktails. You can also purchase all your wine, liquor, and other fine spirits right next door. Visit us on Facebook or online at pantheonbeverages.com for upcoming events and samples from your favorite brewery or local food vendor. Puss and Boots Tavern on Trenton Road in Fairless Hills is better than ever. Sit down, Relax on their outdoor patio and try their award-winning burgers and sandwiches. Visit their takeout store for all of your favorite takeout. And it's not just food. You can also stock up on beers, soda, cigars, snacks, and a variety of convenience items. Call 215-295-8236 to place your order or have them host your next party or affair. Get out and enjoy the summer weather today at Puss in Boots Tavern.
What's your name?
Leonard Skinnard. Live in concert. Friday, June 28th, 9 p.m. Ovation Hall in Ocean Casino Resort.
Give me 3 slaps, mister. Give me 3
Celebrating 50 years of Leonard Skinnard. On sale now at theoceanac.com. Leonard Skinnard.
With over...
We now return to All In with Paul Jolovitz, broadcasting live in Atlantic City.
All righty, we're back here with All In at the Gallery Bar Book and Games Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. We're just watching people pass by, wondering who we should have on 4 to 5. Saw my friend Roger, who's an accountant. Saw a few strangers. Saw my friend Lenny and Denise. And then, what do you think? Who comes walking along with a Stanley Cup winning coach? We thought, let's talk hockey with him. What a chance this is. If you believe that, you believe in the Tooth Fairy. But we have Stanley Cup winning from 2019 St. Louis Blues coach Craig Berube with us. Coached the Flyers from 2013 to 15. I'm sure he's going to coach again. We're going to find out all about the Flyers and Stanley Cup playoffs. Craig, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
It's terrific.
Nice place here. And
yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, it's awesome. Great casino hotel. And it's the first time I've been in this place.
Well, there's a first time for everything. And what do you think of these TVs? You wish you had one of these at your house? I do.
Yeah, me too. They're nice. It's a nice, great sports book here, and it's a real good spot. So looking forward to it.
All right, they say, Craig, that all coaches get hired to get fired pretty much in every sport. It's the fate of 98% of coaches that exist. Obviously, the Bill Belichick's get fired. Once in a while, you get to choose your own exit, but it's not normal. This is the first time in a bunch of years you have not been coaching in the playoffs. As you watch the intensity and the beards and the ramp up and the overtimes, how much do you miss it?
Oh, I do miss it. I mean, it's what I do and what my passion. So, I definitely miss it. But I think when I got let go, I made a commitment to my family and just kind of like put hockey aside for a little bit and really enjoyed the family and everything. But once the playoffs are on now and you get that itch again. You see the intensity, like you said, and just being there and being part of that. I do definitely miss it. So
it's interesting what you just said, because you played 17 years in the NHL, a lot of with the Flyers, the left wing, went into coaching. You've been coaching with world teams and the like, and you see it with coaches. What are you going to do? You're going to coach Mike McCarthy, who's coaches the Cowboys. I took a year off and just stepped back and found out about life and what was in my life and my kids. Do you find that sometimes sports, you kind of race through life and might miss things, and maybe a year off is a blessing at times?
Oh, I think so for sure. You miss a lot. I had kids later in life, so my kids are, still fairly young. And, I missed a lot being in St. Louis for the last 7 years in that organization where they stayed here in the Philly area and I moved there, and you don't see them a lot. You don't have daily interactions with them. Sports or whatever it is. So there's a lot you miss. And so again, when I got let go, it's been really nice to be around the family and doing all those types of things that a father normally does that you're not around to do.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you're here, and obviously your kids are here. Freddie Ciro, the Fog, before the first Stanley Cup. I do a show with Bernie that you were on earlier this year, said, win today and walk together forever, meaning you'll be bonded for the rest of your life. You didn't win a Stanley Cup as a player, but it's amazing how many Flyers still live in the area.
Yeah.
Why is it? What does Philadelphia, what did Philadelphia do to a kid from Canada and has made you stay even through a job somewhere else?
Yeah, that's a good question, but truly believe when you come here and play in this organization. So I came here in '86, and just being around Ed Snyder, Bobby Clark, Paul Holmgren, those type of people, and there's a ton of other ones too that I'm not going to mention everybody. But when you're around those type of people and you see how you're treated, and then you get into the city and the sports and the passion here in Philly and the people, it's a great spot. I mean, I'm not sure if I'll ever leave. I mean,
it's good.
I love it here. I went to a ton of Flyer games while I was home, supporting the Flyers. I love the Flyers.
You're pretty close with Jonesy, right?
Jonesy and Danny Briere, Torts. And again, I always cheer for them. I always wish them well, and because it's in me. I played here, I coached here, I was involved here for a long time, and they gave me my opportunity as a player and a coach.
The Orange and Black, you were a coach from 2013 to 2015. What is it about Philadelphia? What is it about the fans? I know I asked you this question on the show, but anybody that remembers that is a good enough listener that if you remember that,
yeah.
Philadelphia does what? When you came here, what did Philadelphia do? The way the fans reacted. Detroit's called Hockey Town. Most people in Detroit, my buddies, say Philadelphia's Hockey Town. You're better than Detroit. We had some bad years, some lean years. The fans were still there. They're coming back now. And the Wells Fargo Center is excited again, obviously with a little pebble at the end of the year. We'll talk about that in a second, too. What is it about Philadelphia that hockey and Gene Hart and Ed Snyder created? And what is it about as a city that you like that meets your needs?
Well, Ed Snyder, back in the day when he took over, how they approached things, they formed an identity pretty quickly. They came in '67, and by 1970 or 71, they had an identity already, how they were going to perform and play, and became the Broad Street Bullies. And they ended up winning 2 championships. I think the Flyers have gone to like 10 Stanley Cup finals, at least, something like that.
They've lost 6 or 7 in a row.
I've been involved in a couple of them as a
85
player.
and 87?
I've been involved
97?
in 86, 87, and then as a coach, assistant coach in 2010. So it's a winning culture. And I think more than anything, that's, in Philly, the fans expect to win. Yep. They want to win. That's it.
But then you said expect. That's the key word, I think.
Oh, 100%. They expect to win.
They want you to work as hard as they do.
They want to be. And, the one thing I took out of Philadelphia, you work hard and you play hard, the fans like you. Yep. That's what they want. It's that blue-collar type mentality. Yep. You come out and you work hard and you compete hard at a high level. And I think they're getting that back, which is really nice to see. I watched them a lot this year. I thought John Tortorella, Jonesy, and Danny have brought that culture back. They're working towards it. Listen, they didn't make the playoffs this year. I know they're in it for a long stretch. They kind of dipped a little bit at the end and couldn't get back in, but they still made tons of strides with the culture, and that's really important in building. Now they're going to get more talent in here, which they'll need, and they're on the right path.
You coached a team in 2019, Craig, that nobody expected to win the Cup. I think they were last in the league around the turn of the new year when Bennington was called up from the minors, and you came in to coach. Coach got fired. Let's just get the year out, miss the playoffs, do this, do that. And then something happened. You guys started winning games. You started winning games. Then you got to the playoffs, and obviously if you're in the party, you had a chance to win it. And you started winning series, and Bennington was unbelievable, and you had different players doing amazing things. What was that ride like? I mean, obviously every Canadian kid grows up wanting to win the Stanley Cup, but when it's totally unexpected, what was that 4 or 5 months like in Craig Berube's life?
Well, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's something you'll never forget, and I can think of the moments and all the situations that happened back then. I can still remember them, to this day, because they're very important, obviously, and what we accomplished. And I took a lot of the same mindset that I learned here in Philly and brought it to that team. You compete hard, you work hard, and you play as a team. It's all about the team, and that's the one thing I stressed right away when I took over. Listen, this is your role. Whether you like it or not, this is what we need from you. And if you buy in, we might have success. And that's that is a key. And you got to convince these guys of their roles and what they need to do for the team, because the team's what's important and nothing else.
And let me kind of go back to your career with the Flyers, because obviously one thing in life helps set you up for another thing, no matter what you do or who you are. The Flyers have a sign in their locker room, as obviously you're well aware. You play for the emblem on the front, not the name on the back.
Yeah.
How much did that kudo, that part of the culture, get into your soul and become part of your mantra when you became a coach?
Yeah, it's everything, I think. And, any team that goes on and wins a championship, that's what they have, in my opinion, most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. It's, the team first, and that's what you're playing for, and doing your job and what the organization and the vision of the organization is asking you to do. And that's really important. And in today's world in sports, it's hard to do that a lot of times. It's hard to accomplish that, It's a very, I think a lot of athletes today are driven individually. And you got to try to get that out of them, and you got to try to drive home the team first mindset and get that through to your players.
All right, bring everybody into your body and into your soul. You've won the Stanley Cup. It's the ultimate achievement. The crowd's going, but you won it at home, right? You won on the road. That's right. Game 7 on the road. That's right. You won it on the road. But still, obviously, an amazing feeling. Same thing as at home, I assume. You've won the Stanley Cup. You get to carry it around the ice for 30 seconds a lap at the end. What is Craig Berube thinking? Are you flashbacks to your childhood? Are you just pure joy?
Yeah.
This is unbelievable. 4-letter words we can't even imagine now. Or what was that feeling when you actually had the cup? You're skating around the Boston Garden. What was that like?
Well, it's an unreal feeling, but I think when the buzzer went, it was almost like relief. We won it. Yep. It's over. Let's enjoy it now. But I was, more than anything, the one thing I looked out at, and, guys, we're all hugging on the bench and everything, the coach and staff and trainers. And I looked out and I saw our players and how enjoyable it was to see them celebrate together, because that's who won it, the players. They go out and do the work, they put in the work, they formed a bond and a great team, and that's how they won. So I had great pride and enjoyment for them players more than anything, and watching them enjoy themselves on the ice and carry the cup around and just be excited and ecstatic. I mean, that's the one feeling I have more than anything.
Hey,
awesome.
Did you get to spend a day with the cup?
Oh, yeah.
I got to spend a couple days with it.
And
more than a couple. So,
a lot of friends and family?
Oh, yeah. So I had that cup in St. Louis a couple times, and I brought it to a couple spots that I hang out in. These are local. One was a local restaurant. I brought the coaching staff there with the cup. We had a meal.
Fried ravioli?
It was an Italian joint. Oh, yeah. My buddy there that owns that place in St. Louis, so he was really excited about that. We had a great meal, and I brought it to this bar called The Hive that I hung out at. My buddy owns it, Jimmy O'Brien. He owns a couple bars in St. Louis. We're real good friends. I brought that cup there that night, so we had a great time there as a coaching staff. I got to bring the cup home to my hometown of Calahoo, Alberta. And
how'd you swing this where you got it for so many days? Coaches, whatever?
Well, I asked.
Did you threaten him?
And a little bit of threat, right? So I was lucky that way because I wanted to bring it to Philly too. And so I brought it to Calahoo, my hometown, and that was unbelievable. I brought it to the arena. I mean, we had 2,000 people come through there. I got 85 people live in my town. Wow. That's it.
85.
2,000
showed up.
And I took pictures with the cup with all these people, kids and hockey teams and everything, which is a lot of fun. And I brought it to my farm where I grew up and had a party, 200 people. And just to see my dad and my uncles and my family who love hockey, and still today, that's all they do is watch hockey and talk about it, drink out of the cup and have a good time.
That's
awesome.
Was
unbelievable. And I got to bring it to Philly and enjoy it around here with a lot of people, which I had a great time too.
That's unbelievable. It really is. It's a great experience. It's a national
tradition.
symbol. Yeah, Canada's national symbol, and the Stanley Cup playoffs are the greatest playoffs to me in sports. Tonight, Craig, we got the NFL draft. I'm sure you're a football fan too. A quarterback-heavy draft. We'll see where the Eagles go. Do they trade up? Do they trade down? But we always hear the quarterback is the most important player in sports. It's hard to argue that. You look at a guy like Mahomes, but the goalie in hockey, maybe not on a career thing. You can have a hot year or two like Bennington did, but What's more important, a hot goalie in hockey or a good quarterback in football?
I would say a quarterback in football is more important. I think you can get away with winning with a average goalie in today's game, the way it's played. Now, the goalie, though, has to make saves throughout the playoffs that help you win it. Just that, he doesn't have to be outstanding. If you look at the save percentages, so if you go back,
like Bobrovsky the other night.
Well, yeah, it's unreal save, right?
Yeah.
He makes, it's luck a little bit, it's a little everything, but it's a huge save. They win the game, right?
Yep.
And those are the breaks that you have to have. If you look at Binnington, who played really well for us in the playoffs, because he came up big when we needed him to, and that was the most important thing. He only had a .912 save percentage at the end of the playoffs, but at the same time, he had some games and saves that help you win the cup.
Yep. All right, we're going to take a quick break, Craig. Obviously, you have to talk about the Flyers. We'll talk about how important is talent in hockey. John Tortorella, how much talent do the Flyers need? How much can a coach do in hockey? There's only a certain amount you can do with what talent you have. And look at everything with Craig Berube. We'll also talk about the First Nations. What is that? You'll find out when we come back with All In from the Ocean Gallery Sportsbook and Casino in Atlantic City with Craig Berube right after this. Stay with us.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, proven. This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
What's your name?
Leonard Skinnard. Live in concert.
Sweet.
Friday, June 28th, 9 p.m. Ovation Hall in Ocean Casino Resort.
Give me 3 slaps, mister. Give me 3 slaps.
Celebrating 50 years of Leonard Skinnard. On sale now at theoceanac.com.
With over 7,200 square feet of 200 brewers in stock at all times, Pantheon Beverages now features 5 different flavors of their favorite slushy cocktails. You can also purchase all your wine, liquor, and other fine spirits right next door. Visit us on Facebook or online at pantheonbeverages.com for upcoming events and samples from your favorite brewery or local food vendor. Puss and Boots Tavern on Trenton Road in Fairless Hills is better than ever. Sit down, relax on their outdoor patio, and try their award-winning burgers and sandwiches. Visit their takeout store for all of your favorite takeout. And it's not just food. You can also stock up on beers, soda, cigars, snacks, and a variety of convenience items. Call 215-295-8236 to place your order or have them host your next party or affair. Get out and enjoy the summer weather today at Puss and Boots Tavern.
We now return to All In with Paul Jolovitz, broadcasting live in Atlantic City.
Back here at the beautiful Ocean Gallery Bar, Book and Game Sportsbook at Ocean Casino in Atlantic City with Craig Berube, former head coach of the Blues and the Flyers, who grew up on a little farm in a little town in Canada. Are you one of those kids? You're obviously a great fighter, very strong left wing, good player throughout your career. We always hear about these kids who throw hay bales, like 200-pound hay bales, 19 hours a day, and then they're the size of Texas and can beat the snot out of Minnesota. Were you one of those kind of kids? How'd you get as big and tough as you are?
Well, I mean, a lot of it's natural. Like, I grew up on a farm and obviously grew up with a ton of cousins. My dad had 6 brothers and a sister, and we're all around, So a lot of kids and a lot of action going on. I mean, I just think it was, I'm naturally big, just the way it happened. But I think more than anything, just my upbringing with my dad and my uncles and all that, and just how they pushed us and daily about things. And
did the fighting, because obviously you're a great fighter, fighters have had a history of great fighters. You're one of them, but you're also a good player. Now you got to be a good player to play in the league. There's very few guys. Fighters obviously have Nick Delory, but he can play a little bit too. Were you destined? Did you know that if I'm going to get to the show, it's going to be as a tough guy? How did that work? I mean, obviously you're smart enough to know where the bread's buttered. How did that work?
Well, I think you got to have people along the way guide you the best they can. So when I went away to play junior, my first year, I went to Williams Lake, British Columbia, little town in interior BC. Not much there, and I played with, and my coach was a guy, his name was John Van Horlick, and he really grabbed me and, really honed me in on that side of things, the fighting side of things, doing the boxing on the side and just pushing me and
pulling the jersey over the head,
getting me to, and this guy, he played in the old slap shot league
with the Hansons.
Yeah. And he was a tough customer himself. So, I got guided really well, by him. And I still to this day talk to him and we hook up once in a while. He's a great guy. So I think you got to have guys in your corner that way and, take you by the hand and guide you a little bit. And then when I turned pro, I went down to Hershey, came to camp in Philly here, and went to Hershey, and John Paddock was the coach down there. And he really helped me out a lot, John. And
good guy.
This is how you're going to play in the NHL. Go out and do your job, and it involves fighting, obviously, but this is how you're going to do it. And John was smart. He knew how to do it, when to do it, all that stuff. So he guided me really well. And I had Paul Holmgren here as an assistant coach when I came up. And Homer and I, to this day, are real good friends. And, this guy was in my corner, gave me an opportunity. But I think, the Flyers, like, if you play a role like I did and, that was your job on the team, they really liked that and welcomed you, and the fans and
part
everything.
Part of the culture.
So it was part of the culture, so it was a real good fit for me here. And, I had a lot of great teammates that helped me along the way, Rick Tocketts and Dave Poulins and Dave Browns, and I go down the line of a lot of guys that were really important in my career going forward and really helped me out a lot.
Is Tock going to be wearing one of the rings you're wearing after this year?
I hope so, man. I cheer for him, I'll tell you that. I talk to him pretty much daily, and, I know their goalie went out. He's hurt right now, so that's difficult, but I hope he does, because he's a hell of a coach. He's done a hell of a job this year in Vancouver, and I think he's the coach of the year.
He's one of those people also that, to me, if you could tell him I said hi, I'd appreciate it. He's a real good coach, but he's a better human being.
Yeah, he's
just a wonderful guy.
Unbelievable guy. And, coming into Philly as a rookie like that, I had so many good people around me. It was like, it's hard not to have success if you listen and you learn from these guys.
All right, so you're learning from these guys, and you're playing this 17-year career. You went to Washington, you went to other places. Was it an epiphany? Was it a moment where you're skating down the left wing in a 3-1 game on January 9th, blah, 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 where you said, I want to be a coach?
Yeah.
Or did it come along? I mean, I didn't imagine you as an NHL coach, because it's usually the ham-and-egg players that have to work for everything that can teach that. I saw you were a great player at what you did, but never really imagined you as a coach. I don't think many players as coaches, you become them, though. When did you want to become a coach? How did that happen, and then how did it actually transition?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think when I was in Washington, I was there for 7-8 years and played with Dale Hunter. And Dale
London
and I,
Knights.
Yeah, Dale and I became great friends, and we hung out together daily, nightly. I mean, we were together all the time.
32, right?
And it's funny because the first year we didn't talk much because I hated him playing against him all those years.
He was one of those guys. If he's on your team, you love it.
Oh yeah,
the other
exactly.
team, you hate
but
it.
we became great friends, and all we did was watch hockey. All he wanted to do. Whether our game ended, we'd go watch hockey, have a couple beers, watch the late games and out west. I mean, we were watching hockey all the time. And that's where it kind of hit. I knew he was going to coach at some point and do something. And so when he was about to when he was done hockey, he said to me, he called me up one day and he goes, I'm going to buy this junior team in London, Ontario. He goes, I'd like you to buy it with me. I think it's going to be a real good situation and fit. And I said, well, I'm still playing, Dale. I don't even know. I don't really want to get involved. That was a mistake because that's the number one franchise in all of junior hockey. It's the best.
Yep.
And so I knew, like, when I was done, what am I going to do? And I was it was late fall, not late fall, but camps were going on. I was getting some calls from NHL teams to maybe come to camp and try to get going. But Paul Holmgren called me up and he goes, how'd you like to come down to the Phantoms and start helping out a little bit?
Wow.
Just be around them. They could use your
So other people saw this in you too, obviously.
Yeah. Homer, like I said, Homer's always been in my corner. So I went down, started practicing with these guys and hanging out with them. And then I got a call from George McPhee from Washington, and George wanted to interview me to coach. So I went down there and interviewed, came back. I told Homer and Clarkie, I could go there and coach, or what do you want to do? And he goes, no, stay here. We want you to coach here. So that's when I started coaching with the Phantoms at that time, and, here I am today.
Wow. How do you coach toughness in today's game?
Well, it's different, but I think there's three components to toughness, in my opinion. And I get the fighting part. That's all out of the game. But for the most part, there is, it's
Rempe.
I think it's, Rempe, he's brought it back a little bit. And it's great to see. He brings a lot of life and energy to the game. And,
scored the other night, too.
Yeah, he scored. But, you got to have the physical toughness for sure to play this game. And that starts, to me, in the summertime in the training room. And can you handle the physicality of a hockey game, 82 games, going into 100, with playoffs, right? And that's a toughness you have to have as a player and in the discipline to, train in the summer and be physically
fit. And to play hurt, which your sport does a lot more than any other
that's
sport.
That's part of it. Yeah. And then the second part is mental toughness, right? The mental side of the game. There's things that are going to go wrong. It's not always going to be great in your life. You got family, you got kids. There's all kinds of things that go on. So you got to have that mental toughness, right? That's really important to have in the game of all sports. And then you have the what do you call it? Like the emotional toughness, I call it. Like in game, like there's things that you can't sit there and whine about things. You got to move on from things. You got to be emotionally tough.
Like the officiating.
Well,
what's going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah, you can't control a lot of these things, so it's really important to have that. When you see the great players, they all have it. They all have it in all sports.
All right, great players. I think most sports come down to great players. Yes, most coaches in any sport, anywhere in the world, everybody I've asked at least, what makes a great team, great players. There's only so much a coach can do with system. Obviously, the more players you have, the more system can matter in football and the like. Torts this year had, rebuilding Danny and Keith. It went faster than they thought. But in general, Craig, we'll talk about the Flyers right after this, but how much can a coach influence? How much better can you make a team based on the talent level? It really is about talent, isn't it?
Talent is very important, and it's hard to win without it. Like, it very rarely happens.
You can make a culture of winning and toughness, but there's a ceiling to that.
You still have you got to have the talent, because you got to be able to score goals and make plays and do all those things. And there's certain guys that work extremely hard and they compete really hard, but they just don't have the ability to make a play when you need it. So, but the Flyers are on the right path. Like I said, I think Torch has done a great job of bringing in that work ethic and that culture here, team play. They have some real good talent on this team. They have some more guys coming in the draft, which is important.
And Mitch Koff.
Yes, and I think losing Carter Hart hurt them a lot because Harrison ran out of gas, and they didn't have another guy to come in there and help out. And if I think that didn't happen, they're in the playoffs, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they lost their first-string goalie, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk a lot about the Flyers, but I have one more question. I promote First Nations. I don't know what to call a Native American, a Native Canadian. You never know what term politically correct, but you're a member of the First Nations tribe, if I'm correct. And you and Ted Nolan, the former coach of the Sabres, coached against each other on November 21st, 2013. What was that like for your tribe, for yourself, for your heritage, to have two of you coaching in this game and have the whole world noticing.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, like I grew up, around. I grew up around two reserves. Alexander was one, and Enoch was the other. And my dad played a lot of hockey for Enoch too. My dad played hockey till he was 80.
Wow.
So I grew up playing hockey with these players throughout my lifetime as a young player, and being around those guys. And I seen a bunch of really good players. Man, it was great. And baseball too. I played a lot of baseball growing up with these guys, and to be able to move forward to the NHL and become a coach and do all these things, and coach against Teddy, who I have tons of respect for. I played against Teddy as a player, and it's awesome, great feeling. And it's like when I brought the cup home to Callahoo. The chief came over from Alexander, the reserve, and did a little thing for me. Gave me a nice gift, which they carved out of soapstone. Was unbelievable. I mean, they were great to me. So it was great that they showed up and had a little ceremony there and all that.
It was pretty historic, right? You were the first Indigenous Native Canadian coach, right, to win the cup?
I don't know. Am I?
I think
there's only been two of you from what I read, you and Ted Nolan. So he didn't win a cup. Obviously, he had his own problems in the NHL. But
as a coach, but I mean, there's players that have won it for sure. Reggie Leach.
Reggie Leach, absolutely.
And I saw Reggie the other day at that alumni event that the Flyers played the Bruins.
Yeah.
And Reggie was there, and I love seeing Reggie. Reggie's one of my favorite.
The alumni are all great, and a lot of them are around here. And that brings us to literally around here, Craig. We're at the Ocean Gallery Sportsbook. If I was to go up and say, what are the odds on Craig Berube ever coaching another NHL game, and the odds are even money, and they say, Jolly, you got to make a bet right now, which way am I going?
Well, I'd bet on it.
You're going to coach. You think you'll coach next year?
I hope so. I'd like to.
Do you want to coach the Flyers at some point? I mean, not now. I'm not taking towards his job from him, but you mentioned you wanted to play with him in Homer.
Yeah, anytime I could come back here and be involved here, I would do it in a second.
I mean, going back to that toughness question, it really seems from a fan perspective that Torts has done a really good job at coaching an element of toughness into this team.
Unbelievable. If they make the playoffs, he's a coach of the year.
And they should have made the playoffs, obviously.
But, that's where it was, in my opinion. Like, nobody had the Flyers doing what they did this year.
All right, so fill in this blank. John Tortorella did what to elevate this season from what people thought into what it was, obviously the bump at the end, but what's his biggest takeaway that he imbued onto this team?
Make them a team. Make them compete hard, work hard every single game. And that's what they did. I watched a lot of their games. I came to almost every game when I was fired and I came home, and they had an identity every night. And I watched it closely, and I'm like, this team is tough to play against. And that's what he brought, and that's what he brings all the time. And the players like it, and they love him. They love Torts.
They do,
because he's honest with them. He's truthful with them.
Well,
and that's great that they got a real good bunch of character guys in this team.
One of the things
that's important.
They do have character guys. Scotty Lawton, bunch of them. Konechny had a great year. Tippett, and then everybody has, years that people thought they may not have. Paling, they got guys out of nowhere. Obviously, they traded Walker, Sealer. But they didn't have a good power play. They're the worst power play in the NHL, one of the worst ever. In my opinion, my amateur know nothing about hockey at this level opinion, the power play is more about passing than shooting. Obviously, you have Ovechkin in his office, one-timing things. You got someone like that on every team. But the power play is about playing tic-tac-toe and getting guys out of place. To me, the Flyers don't really have that. Am I right in thinking that's the Flyers' biggest problem on the power play?
Yeah, to a certain extent. I think that there's a lot of times, and I've been involved in St. Louis. We had a good power play for a number of years, one of the best, top 5 every year. But this year, going into this season,
and you had Peter Angelo quarterbacking it, right?
Yeah, him and Vince Dunn back in the day, kind of a switch off there. But we have Robbie Thomas, Kyrou Buchnevich, these guys this year, and Torrey Krug running it up top. The year before, we have a great power play going to this year, and we can't get it going. and it ultimately probably cost me my job.
Wow.
But sometimes the puck just doesn't go in. It's just you get behind the 8 ball. It's hard to catch up, But you're right. You got to move the puck quick. You got to understand what the penalty kill's doing and expose that. There's certain weaknesses on a penalty kill, things you could take advantage of. But it is about quick strike plays and having some finish, And I think the Flyers lack a little finish, and that's, it's a big thing. Well, you got to have guys that can finish. Like, Ovechkin, one of the best power play guys ever, he could finish. He shot the puck extremely well and hard. Still does, and that's why they scored.
All right, so you got the Flyers now who have some of their nucleus. Who do you think, somebody said the building blocks for the Flyers when they finally skate around the ice with Lord Stanley's Cup, whenever that is, hopefully soon. Who on this team is going to be a key element, not somebody who's there, who's going to find a way to last 8 years, and God bless them, but I'm talking about being a building block element of this team. Who are the Mitchkov is coming.
Yeah.
We know about, Konechny's obvious, but who else is a building block guy in your opinion?
Forrester. He's going
Tremendous rookie
He's going to be a real good player. Tippett for sure. Those guys are going to be key elements. York and Sanheim, Drysdale. They traded for Drysdale. They traded Gauthier or whatever and got Drysdale. And the Russian kid coming, a kid named Bonk. He plays for the London Knights for Dale Hunter. He's going to be a real good player. Those are the guys that are going to be the key elements.
All right, so they need to draft the free agency. Danny showed amazing patience. I agree with the Walker trade. They likely weren't going to win the Cup. What do they have to do right now? If you're Danny Briere, and you obviously know Danny Briere, you don't want to move too fast. You don't want to sign people to ridiculous contracts that strangle you with a cap. You're in a good cap situation, but not great. What are you thinking about doing this offseason and how?
Well, I think you still look at what the free agency market has and what players are out there and who can help you now and the future. And I think you obviously try to add some pieces to your team.
Goal scoring, right?
Well, in my opinion, like a center ice position would be really important. If there's somebody out there in a center ice position, I love Couturier, I love Lawton. Frost is still a young guy, still kind of developing. Who knows how he could turn out. He can make plays and see the ice, but I would still look at the center ice position.
All right, one thing before we go to a break. Coots, obviously named the captain late in the year, had problems with his back. I think had problems with his back this year. What are you thinking about Coots and where his future is?
Yeah, no, I think he'll be fine. I think a year and a half out of hockey, and he came back this year, had a real good start, and it kind of fell off. Yeah, it's tough, he missed a lot of hockey. So I believe he's going to have a comeback year next year. I think he'll be a good player. He's a very smart player. He knows how to play the game. I believe he'll train this summer and do the right things, and I believe he'll have a good year next year.
He will work. That's the Flyers' mantra. John Tortorella will push into these guys whether they want it or not. Love him as a coach. We have a guy who's going to coach in the NHL next year, and I'll be a fan of whoever he's coaching. Craig Berube, I'm rooting for Rick Tocchet this year. Craig Berube and the Flyers next year. We're here with Craig at the Ocean Casino Sportsbook.
Paul, I don't want you to interrupt. You should suggest that prop bet over to Pat about whether Craig will coach again. We got inside knowledge now.
I'm not sure they take prop bets on things they know or don't know already.
I don't know nothing either, boys.
Yeah, I know. You can be Sergeant Schultz. I know nothing. Nothing. We know something that we got to break, and we'll come back. Be with us right after this.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, proven. This is
What's your name? Leonard Skinnard. Girl. Live in concert. Sweet. Friday, June 28th, 9 p.m. Ovation Hall in Ocean Casino Resort.
Give me 3 slaps, mister, give me 3 slaps.
Celebrating 50 years of Leonard Skinnard. On sale now at theoceanac.com. Leonard Skinnard.
With over 7,200 square feet of 200 brewers in stock at all times, Pantheon Beverages now features 5 different flavors of their favorite slushy cocktails. You can also purchase all your wine, liquor, and other fine spirits right next door. Visit us on Facebook or online at pantheonbeverages.com for upcoming events and samples from your favorite brewery or local food vendor. Puss and Boots Tavern on Trent Road in Fairless Hills is better than ever. Sit down, relax on their outdoor patio, and try their award-winning burgers and sandwiches. Visit their takeout store for all of your favorite takeout. And it's not just food. You can also stock up on beers, soda, cigars, snacks, and a variety of convenience items. Call 215-295-8236 to place your order or have them host your next party or affair. Get out and enjoy the summer weather today at Puss and Boots Tavern.
We now return to All In with Paul Jolovitz, broadcasting live in Atlantic City.
All righty, back here at the Gallery Bar Book and Sports Gallery. I'll get it straight, Chris. Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort with Craig Berube. Craig, I got 4 questions for you, pretty quick, rapid fire. You've played for 17 years. You've coached in the NHL. You're going to coach again. You're a great coach. You understand the game from every perspective possible. Who's the best player? However you define this, and there's many ways to define it. Who's the best player you ever played with and against? Who's the best player you ever coached and against?
Best player I played with, I would have to say, that's a good question. I mean, I
never played with Gretzky.
I never played with Gretzky.
Mario.
You know, Mark Howe was unreal.
Incredible.
Unbelievable player. Just because how he controlled the game from the back end with his ability to skate, move a puck. You know, it's hard to, you know, those guys are, there's not a lot of them. You know what I mean? And he's one of them. He was one of them. He was definitely right up there with one of the best players I ever played with for sure.
All right.
Okay, and you know, I get it. I played with a lot of guys, scored a lot of goals. I played with Lindros, scored a lot of goals. I played with a lot of good players. Mark Recchi was right up there. He was a hell of a player.
Holds a fire record for points in the season.
Great player.
They could have that at the
Recchi
sportsbook
could
fight.
skate,
Nobody
pass.
has any idea.
He did everything. You know, great player in my opinion. Great team guy. Coach against Gretzky for sure. I mean, or play against Gretzky and Mario Lemieux were the 2 best players that I played against, in my opinion.
That was easier, but let's say Gretzky and Lemieux were not even part of the conversation.
They're not part of the conversation.
Yeah.
You know, I'd have to say
Yzerman?
Yeah, he's up there. I'd say I'd put probably Mark Messier ahead of him.
Oh, yeah.
And another guy that I thought was a great player that I played against, Nick Lindstrom.
I swear to God,
this guy
never hit anybody, but was an unbelievable player.
Mark Howe. That's what same thing.
Nick hit a lot less than Mark, though, I think. Never touched anybody.
Never touched anybody. But his stick and his way he positioned himself and shot the puck and passed the puck and controlled the game was incredible.
How about in today's game?
I'm going to say another guy that I actually coached and played against a little bit was Chris Pronger. And I put him in the same category. He just controlled the game, and he was mean, and he could do it all.
He also could break your hand. I shook Chris Pronger. I don't think I'm a weakling or a little guy. I shook Chris Pronger's hand once, and I was out like 8 months.
Oh, he was a great player. So, yeah, I mean, coaching, you know.
You coached some good players with St. Louis.
Yeah, I did. But coaching against players, like when you're coaching against McKinnon and McDavid on the other team and Sidney Crosby, man, those guys are great players.
All right, they are great players.
Great
Sidney
players.
Crosby's won 3 cups.
Unbelievable.
McKinnon might be the Hart Trophy winner this year, the MVP of the league. But McDavid is somebody who obviously is the best player in the world, talent-wise. He didn't score any goals this year, but had 3,000 assists. Austin Matthews had 3,000 goals, never gets an assist. But Austin Matthews' team, in my opinion, we live in Philadelphia, guys, and Philadelphia is the height of pressure. Not exactly. Toronto, to me, Toronto and the Maple Leafs is the ultimate pressure in this world. An entire country hangs on your every move. They haven't won a cup in 50-some years. Who's going to win a Stanley Cup first, Craig? If neither one may win, but if somebody said McDavid or Matthews has to win the Stanley Cup for you to win your bet, who are you walking over to the sports book and betting will win?
I'm going to bet on the Oilers. McDavid.
You think they got a goalie this year? You think they got a defense? Because their coach took over like you did.
Yeah,
they've come
I think their defense is fine. It's big, which I like. They got good size back there, and they defend pretty well. The goalie, for me, he's got to play better. Like, he didn't play well enough last night to cost him the game. I mean, there's no way, in my opinion, LA deserved to win that game, but I thought the goalie let him down. I mean, the Oilers played pretty solid. I mean, they scored enough goals to win, but the goalie's going to have to make saves, and it's tough. I mean, whether he can do it or not. But Toronto is in sort of the same situation a little bit with their goaltending too.
Yeah.
It's not great, So, I mean, the Oilers and Toronto have some deficiencies, but the Oilers, for me, are more stacked to win than Toronto.
All right, so say you get a job next year with whoever, Florida. They're obviously not firing Paul Maurice, but anybody, and they say, Craig, we have a special dispensation. You can pick any one player off any team. Salary cap doesn't matter. Just pick a player that you like. Age comes into it, I guess. A, would you pick McDavid or Matthews? And B, who would you pick among everybody if I'm missing somebody?
Yeah, I mean, you're missing McKinnon. You're missing Makar off of Colorado, some players like that. I mean, there's some great players in this league.
Kucherov.
Unbelievable player.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's hard-pressed not to just say, I'm going to take McDavid.
Because it was just raw speed
just
and talent.
Everything, but McKinnon's right there for me, too, because McKinnon does it all, too, in my opinion. And, he's won a cup. He knows how to win. He does it all. He scores. He drives the play for the team. He's competitive. He's become a real good leader on that team. So I mean, he's one of the players I'd pick too for sure.
We also had Ben Jones, our sponsor, on BCWSA, the water people in Bucks County. Something must be in the water in Cole Harbour, Saskatchewan, Chris. Little town in the middle of nowhere, not Saskatchewan, Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
They had two guys drafted first in the NHL draft from Cole Harbour. Neither one ever did anything in the NHL. Just a guy named Sidney Crosby and Nathan McKinnon. What the hell's going on there?
I don't know. But those guys train together in the summer too. So, McKinnon was beneficial for McKinnon, in my opinion, to be around Sid at a young age. Sid's already won a cup. He's been the best player in the league for a number of years. And McKinnon learning from him, Sidney Crosby is definitely top 5 best players ever to play the game.
People hate Sidney Crosby in Philadelphia, but I have a buddy, my good buddy of mine, Ian Walsh, who's a referee, who I'm sure, we're really good friends. I can ask him anything about anything. And he said Sidney Crosby's rookie year, the refs warned him. He used to dive all the time, and he'd be Sidney Crosby, the personality. And they said, Sidney, it's not going to be a good look. You're going to be good enough that you're going to do things in this game, regardless of what we or anybody else do. But the more of a human you are, you'll get more calls and whatever. And he said he certainly listened and he evolved. I'm not going to tell you I like Sidney Crosby as a hockey player, but just as a player, somebody in the NHL, for respect factor, he's got to be up at the top, doesn't he?
Definitely. It's all about winning for him, I think, more than anything. It's about his, when he's done playing, what did he leave behind? And you look at, he's won 3 cups. He might win another one. He's won 2 or 3 Olympic gold medals. He's done it all.
And he scored the goal in the overtime.
Yeah, and that's what really, that's what it all means to him. It's all about winning. It's not about accolades for him, in my opinion. It's about winning championships, and that's why he's got so many. Not only Stanley Cups, but Olympic gold medals and, world championships and World Cups and things like that. He's got them all. He's won them all.
With that said, you've coached in the World Championships. They're held every year after the season. Teams that don't make the playoffs can put players in there. Joel Farabee just named the Canadian team yesterday. For him as a human being and for him as a hockey player, as obviously for the Flyers, how cool is that?
It's great. I think, it's a choice. There's some players that go over and some that don't. I'm not going to sit here and judge anybody that doesn't want to go play for their country because it's a long season. It's 82 games, and it's your choice. But I think it's a great experience to go over there and play, be around some different players, be around a different environment. It's a fun tournament, so it's great for him to go over and get some more experience as a young guy, and just learn, and hopefully Canada can win.
When you wear that C, the Maple Leaf, Canadian Maple Leaf, you've coached in these kind of tournaments. I mean, obviously you want to win the Stanley Cup, and I would guess that's number one, but what's playing for your country like? Obviously everybody would like to do it in a number of sports. We're not gifted physically or enough to do that, but what's it like for those who were? How cool is it?
Yeah, well, I think when you're playing in the Olympics and the World Cups and things like that, when you put the sweater on for whatever country you play for, all the individual things that you...
And by the way, let me interrupt for a second. You're playing with guys you can't stand half the time in the end of the season, but you obviously become their teammate and their brother for this tournament. Yeah.
That all goes out the window, the individual stuff. It's just about your role on a team and how you're going to help your team win. And that's what's special about it. It's, like I said, it's, doesn't matter how many goals and points you get. It's all about winning games and trying to win the tournament. And that's what's real cool about it. You see everybody kind of in a different environment almost.
And it really feels like, for that tournament, that emotional toughness, when you're out there representing your country, I imagine certain feeling you get when the anthem comes on. And
oh, definitely. When you're, I'm never involved in the Olympics, but I'm sure that's a ton of pressure, for each country, playing for your country. And it's a lot of pride on the line, in my opinion. There might be more pride in that than there is, playing for the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because that led to my next question. I mean, I don't like Sidney Crosby as a hockey player. I'm sure he's a great guy. And I know it's about the Stanley Cup in Canada, especially when you're growing up. This is almost like heretic to say, but Sidney Crosby in 2010 scored the overtime game winner for the gold medal in the Olympics against the United States. He's won 3 Stanley Cups. In my opinion, the overtime goal in the Olympics is the biggest goal he'll ever score in his life.
And it might be to him. You never know. Yeah. Like he might say it is. I mean, like I said, the Olympics are a different level. It really are. And especially in a team atmosphere. No, I shouldn't say that, because when you're doing an individual sport in the Olympics too, I mean, it's just all about winning and getting that gold medal. It really is. And I don't know. I'd never asked Sid that question, but it might be one I will. I'll remember it.
All right, appreciate that. As we wind down here, a couple more about the Flyers. Next year, obviously the expectation is going to be make the playoffs. How quick do you think they get where they want to get, whatever that is? Obviously win a cup, and what do you think's right ahead for the Flyers?
Yeah, it's a tough question, because I'm not sure what Danny and Jonesy and they're thinking free agency wise and what they want to do. They obviously they want to get a good pick in the draft this year. That's important. And some of their younger guys, like the Russian player, I'm not sure when he's going to come over. That's probably still...
Could be 2 more years.
Could be.
They got like 19 goalies in the system also.
Yeah. And they got, obviously got some young goalies they got to develop and things like that. So I think patience is important still. I know nobody likes to hear that word around Philadelphia, but it's definitely important, and you got to stick with the process. And that's the most important thing. Stick with the process. You get away from it and you want to jump the gun a little early, it could backfire. And that you don't want that to happen. So again, patience is important here. Doing the right things, building your team, adding players, adding character, things like that are very important here going forward.
I hate to say this when we're involving people's lives, not just as a player, and this is obviously a very real situation, but again, with the sports book right across the carpet here, somebody said, will Carter Hart ever play another game, not for the Flyers, but in the NHL, and the over-under is a half? In other words, if you say yes, he's got to play another game, no, he doesn't. 25 years old, this trial's starting in a few months. Obviously, we have no idea what will happen there. What do you think? Is it something where even if they're acquitted, he can play? What do you think his future is?
Well, certainly I hope so. He's acquitted, and that'll be up to the league, Gary Bettman. So he's going to have to look at everything real closely. And, hopefully it all works out. And I hope that Carter Hart's back in the National Hockey League where he belongs.
Cool. One Flyer that has a shot. I mean, Flyers are building from defense out with Torts Cam York showing could be a number one defenseman. Drysdale's obviously a huge key with the Gauthier thing. Give me one Flyer who you think will be on the Canadian or the American Olympic team come 26.
Good question. I think Konecny will be a player on that Olympic team for Canada. I think he's definitely somebody that's going to be looked at because, you look at how the teams are built, and he's the type of guy, whether he maybe doesn't play in the top two lines like he does in the NHL, but he's a great fit for, a bottom six winger that can score some goals, check, be hard and physical. He plays that tenacious game.
Yeah, that Brad Marchand game.
He's the type of player that, if you look at the Olympic teams in Canada over the years, they have that type of player on their team. So he's definitely a guy, and York definitely has potential to maybe make that American team.
All right, final question for Craig Berube. We really appreciate your time and coming down here to AC. My favorite Flyer, and he played a lot like the Flyer mantra is, he's the heart of the culture of the Flyers. He's the heart of the city. You were like that. He's a wonderful kid. Again, one of these people that's a better person than he is a hockey player. He's a hell of a hockey player. Somebody that's the glue for the Flyers. What do you think's in the future of Scotty Laughton? He's signed for a couple more years. He's also valuable on the trade market. Every team wants a guy like that can do a little of everything and lead. What do you think's next for Scotty? Is he going to stay here?
That's a good question. Everybody wants him to stay here. His teammates and coaches.
He's
and
married.
fans.
He's made this his home.
He's a great guy to have on a team. He's such a leader and respectful person. He has the Flyers' vision and values within him. He plays like it night and night out.
He's like the ultimate Flyer. Somebody from every area. So are you.
But he does all those things, and you really like him, and you don't want to lose him. But at the same time, if somebody calls the Flyers up and says, "Listen, we're going to give you this for a lot," and you got to think about it, you got to look at it. If it's maybe a younger player or somebody in the future that can help the Flyers. So
I always say nobody's untouchable. Craig.
Nobody's untouchable.
Somebody makes a John Gotti offer or something. With Walker, they had to trade him. They got a number one pick out of it.
No, for sure. Walker was a great player here. Yeah. Played really well, but you get a first-round pick for him. He's up for a contract. He's probably going to get paid a lot of money. So it was a great trade for the Flyers.
All right, we'll end it with that. It's been a great trade for the Flyers. It's been a great day at the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean City. Chris Ermer produced this fine program. Thank you very much, Chris. You joined me along the way as a host. Let's do it again sometime, all right?
Sounds good to me.
Craig, it's an honor to have a Stanley Cup winning coach here. Hopefully we'll see you on the ice next year. And if we're doing a show on April 25th next year, you'll be in the middle of the first round against somebody somewhere, ready to go to the second round and win another cup.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys having me on. It was a lot of fun, and thanks again.
Thank you so much. This has been All In. You may listen to this Friday. We're taping this Thursday, streaming on YouTube at WBCB Sports. Terrestrial on the radio will be on tomorrow, which if you're hearing this tomorrow will be today. You can figure that out mentally. But we're at the sports book, and come on down here. You'll have a great time at Ocean. I promise. We are back soon with another edition of All In. For Chris Ermer, for Ben Jones, for John Brazier, for the sportsbook director, Pat Glass, and for Craig Berube, I'm Paul Jolovitz saying goodbye, everybody. Go Flyers. Go Philadelphia. Go Sixers. Go Eagles. Go Phillies.